Live from Hollywood, it's the George Rodriguez Show on soulflowradio.com. To get in touch with George, call 954-990-0036 in Pismo Beach. In Anaheim, call 954-990-0036. 954-99-00036 in Azusa, and 954-99-00036 in Cucamonga.
Anyway, Roykstop, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm chewing on a cough drop. I timed that really bad. That was my fault. Can't even blame Jack Rat for that. And now I'm drooling, Jack. Might have to rely more on the music on Roykstop. But too late. I'm committed. The audience is just gonna have to endure that. I got a mouthful of cough drop drool. I really should have thought that through a little bit better. I've been listening to a lot of Roykstop lately. Thank you, Pandora. Roykstop just keeps going crazy. I would talk previously on shows about how Karen Anderson, Dreger Anderson, I'm not sure how to say her name, from The Knife and Fever Ray, took them over, and now I guess I've had them wrong the whole time. For those of you who don't know, you probably heard the Roykstop song. Remember the Caveman commercial, the Geico Caveman commercial?
Yeah, keep it on replay.
What's that? You what?
Keep it on replay.
Oh, absolutely.
With
that cutesy little ditty. Anyway, apparently Roykstop just keeps cranking out really good tunes. So that's Roykstop with Robin and Monument. And during the break at some point, we'll play another one. Roykstop with some chick. I'm going to have to look it up, a Nelly or something. But welcome to the show. I'm almost through the cough drop phlegm. The cough drop. It wasn't phlegm. It's just the extra saliva that the cough drop kicked up. And now I'm rich and creamy. Lisa Corrao is going to be showing up, and I guess so much for the surprise. I thought I was going to surprise her with Mitch, and now Mitch may or may not show up, so I don't know what's going on there, but we'll keep you posted. I was told that I would stay posted. Hopefully there won't be any violence during lunch, and Lisa Corrao will be here around 12:30. And then maybe other surprise guests. I don't know. I was really looking forward to the show today with all of the surprise guests. But nevertheless, here we are. And I have a T-Mobile story I have to start right away because I was really mad. I haven't had an unpleasant conversation, Jak, since about a year and a half since that was the last time I spoke with the ex.
Okay.
And I had one. I had an unpleasant conversation at the T-Mobile place because they sold me this piece of shit phone, this Kyocera Hydro Wave. I got the only Android phone in the world that you can't root, which is the Android equivalent of jailbreak.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm stuck with this thing. I can't use the card that the guy. And this is what pisses me off is that the guy said that I could have a 64 gig card in this thing. And I asked him like 5 times. I even asked the other guy. This isn't even the guy that rang me up. This fat guy Adam told me that. And then I got rang up by a different guy. Don't put T-Mobile on there. As a matter of fact, swivel around. This is the part of the show where we're talking to each other.
Okay.
Later when Lisa shows up, we can ignore each other like we do for the rest of the week.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I really want to get Jak. I want to get. I'm not. I don't want to ignore you. I want to pay more attention to you at the roller rink. I'm trying to get Jak into roller skating right now. I've yet to get you on wheels.
We're working on that.
I know we're working on that. But I don't know what phone service do you have? Do you like them? Because I'm thinking of switching now. But I really like how cheap not T-Mobile, but Metro PCS is.
Metro piece of shit.
Metro PCS, which is owned by T-Mobile, I guess.
Yeah.
I think your mic's a little low too.
Actually, I'm not up on the mic.
Okay.
That's probably why.
There you go.
I'm actually thinking about investing and going into
Investing.
Well, I'm putting my money into it, so it's an investment.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm going to Metro PCS. I'm dealing with Sprint right now. But,
okay. I'm with Metro PCS. I'm happy with the service. It's $60 unlimited everything. But I had my iPhone finally died, and I would go in there and I'm looking at all these 3 different phones, and I've got enough money to get whatever I want. I didn't want to spend another $600, and if I did, I'd get another iPhone. Right. So I didn't want to get the Galaxy S.
That probably was your best bet.
Which I thought, I know. Well, listen, I'm already regretting a lot of things. I'm regretting not spending $10 more. This phone was cheap, but what got me wasn't that, it's a cheap phone. It's the waterproof one that supposedly you can drop in a toilet. And now I know why they made it so that it can be dropped in a toilet. After about a week with this thing, you'll want to drop it in a toilet. You want to throw it in the toilet and flush it down. That's why it was made to survive that process. That was attractive to me. I go to the beach. I plan to be doing more boating this coming year.
Okay.
So I was attracted to that whole, that whole business. I could take my phone into the shower with me. Woohoo! So, hey, shower Bluetooth speaker. Here's your friend. Anyway, all the possibilities excited me about this phone. And the guy said 64 gigs. I got 64 gigs on my phone now. I can't really go backwards. You understand? I use this phone all the time. My daughter uses my music. It's very important. I use it for my work. I have to download videos. This is very important. I got a lot of apps that I use. It's very important. Yeah, man. 64 gigs. Not only does it not hold a 64 gig card, but there's no way to change the settings on this phone so that you can store apps on your card. So you're stuck with whatever. And it's got all the included software, which is bloatware. You're stuck with that unless you root it, which is the Android equivalent of jailbreak. When you do that, then you can do things like put a 64 gig card in there and take out all the mishigas that goes in there. But guess what? This phone can't be rooted. It can't, the operating system can't be updated. You can't move the apps to the card. So it's really, really a piece of shit. And so I waited more than the 7 days, apparently. I didn't read the end of my receipt for taking it back.
Okay.
I waited more than 7 days. It got that long. It took more than that for me to get the card that I wanted to get, which I told him about. And then I thought, it's the card or something. So I sent it back and got another card. No, and then I started doing research, and then I started doing forms, and then I contacted Kyocera, the phone maker, and they go, no, it only takes a 64 gig card. And and it can't be rooted or anything else. And the guy didn't tell me this. The guy didn't tell me this was a piece of shit. So I went back all pissed off, and I just wanted store credit and upgrade it. Like, I'll throw $100 more into a better phone or whatever. I just need a phone that does what I need it to do. And they told me to go fuck myself. No, it's been more than a week. Go fuck yourself. Ha ha ha. And the guy was there right there. Adam was right there. The other guy wasn't. The other guy that told me also.
Fuck you, Adam.
Yeah. I said, you fucked me, Adam. I did right to his face.
I said, fuck you, Adam.
Yeah, fuck you, Adam. Yeah. Hey, I got this phone. You told me that's what the manufacturer told us. No, it isn't. I spoke to the manufacturer. It's right on their website. They said it's right on our website, and I checked it. There it is, right on their website. It's in the specs for all the phone. I checked it. No, nowhere does it say that it takes a 64 gig card, and nowhere does it say that it can be made to. Asshole, you fucked me. And I said that right there in the store full of people as they all gawked at me.
Right.
The first time in a year and a half I've had an unpleasant conversation, which I guess that's good news because wow,
you're all out of fucks again.
I'm all out of fucks, and but today I brought some fucks with me today because Lisa Corrao is going to be here at some point, and
nice,
and I just I like doing the show when I have a good reason to do the show, like last week and this week with Lisa Corrao coming in because she's very funny and hopefully the mystery guest that I wanted to surprise her with. I guess the mystery guest didn't think that surprising her would
be what's best for her.
I don't know what's going on at this point. I don't know what's going on because quite honestly, I only know what's public with regards to these fine friends of mine, and they are friends, and I love them both dearly. But they are friends in their own right, and so hopefully everything is cool between them, and they'll both show up because I was not aware of any uncoolness.
Possible
if you will. Speaking of coolness, thank you for the tip on the Richard Pryor thing. I've been documentary binging. I would have gotten it. I would have gotten to it at some point. I'm sure. But nevertheless, I'm glad I got to it recently. When did you see it? The Richard Pryor Icon documentary.
I was at a Facebook party, and they had Netflix on, so I was just perusing through, and I saw Richard Pryor Icon. I was like, oh, this is nice to watch. And I was so compelled that I got my fucked up iPhone.
Oh yeah,
and I downloaded it on the Netflix.
Hey, you want my old iPhone? It's got a lot of storage, but you can't hear anything.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, pass it on over.
It's really great except for the phone part where you can't hear anything out the little speaker that you hold up to your head.
So you need
it only works with Bluetooth, and then even then the volume drops out. It doesn't work with headphones either.
Thank you, no, thank you. But no, it was. I saw it and I was just compelled to find whatever space that I had on that phone to get Netflix on there, and
you watched it on your phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
with the crack
listen,
app.
I tell you, and I need some advice. I've been getting advice from consultants, the counselors. At this point in my life, I know this about the people around me. Mm-hmm. These are the good people. The people that didn't bail on me, the people that didn't abandon me, the people that believed in me. Thank you, all the good people in my life. Everybody gets a steak for everybody.
But you don't have any
everybody gets a steak. Pardon?
You don't have any money for steak.
I don't have any money for steak? Yeah. I do.
For everybody?
For the people, and they know who they are.
That must be a very small group.
Well, I wasn't going to buy you a steak. I got you a thumb drive and a parking pass. That's...
Yeah, that works. Hey.
You can't eat it. What would you do with a steak? Eat it? Then you don't have the steak and can't have your steak and eat it too.
These are the words from the philosopher.
We can do steak. We had corporate producer pizza party last night.
Yes, we did.
As
successful producer.
Yeah, well, let's do more. There was a lot more that we needed to cover, but that was a good place to start.
It was the inaugural
having regular meetings because I want this enterprise to be very different, and I stress that from the other enterprises that I worked at before, where one was made to feel like I don't know. I don't want to use the analogy slave. Just throw that out there. But I mean like a fresh slave. Like
what's a fresh slave?
A fresh slave, like freshly slaved. Not grow. You didn't grow up as a slave, but you were captured in your lifetime, and you remember being free, and you still strive and you try to do something about it, and they beat you down and beat you down and beat you down.
George,
what's it?
My blackness won't allow me to let you finish this analogy.
No, well, I had some Nazi comparisons later if you want.
My Jewish friends, their Jewishness.
We're going to do some labor camp, concentration camp analogies later on to explain some other point that I want to make. Well, back to the point. We felt, all comedy and exaggeration aside, we were made to feel very not a part of what was going on, but rather just a part of the machinery.
Right.
We were just a part of the machinery, and you had to sprocket, and you just stay in your place and rotate the way that we tell you to, and that was it. In what was supposed to be a creative environment. You know, it was very frustrating because certainly our creativity is what created the product that they were selling, but they didn't want us to be creative. They just wanted to make the product, but make it this way and don't be too creative because then you'll cause problems.
The essence of arts and commerce.
And we would say, what do you think the people are tuning in for? To hear our adherence to the format? I mean, really? Is that what you think that people are tuning in? Boy, wow, their brakes are tight. That George, he runs a tight board, you know? All the years, the people that listen to the Neil Rogers show, and you know, they would come up and give me some compliments every now and again. I would get some overflow compliments. They would go, Neil, Neil, you're awesome, you're the best thing in the world, and they'd see me sitting there next to them. They go, oh yeah, George, you're okay too. You don't suck terribly bad. You're okay too. But I can't remember a time, and maybe it did happen, but I can't remember a time when somebody came up and said, hey, I'm in broadcasting, and I got to say, you run a tight board. We would say that to each other, the producers, and you run a real tight board, man. You're like on the spot, man. That bang, bang, bang. You run a tight board. I can't remember. It must have happened. It must have. But I don't see. The point being is that I don't think that the Holocaust. That was the point. The point being. See how I just threw that in the random Holocaust analogy. Yeah. The point being that I don't think that's why people tuned into the Neil Rogers show, is to hear the technical accuracy of the Neil Rogers show, how technically accurate it was between the both of us, actually, because he impressed me too. He hit his cues. He was tight with his cues. He took a cue. But
it's something that's only going to be appreciated by your peers.
Yeah, but the management, it was like all important to hit those commercial breaks at that particular time and play those commercials and get that in and do this and stop trying to be creative.
But that's such a waste. I mean, you should be saluted for your tactfulness in hitting your breaks and things of that nature, but like you said, the regular listener is not going to.
They hated creativity, man. They really hated creativity. So anyway, that's the environment that I want to have here. I want an environment that where the people that work here, everybody that works here, feels like they matter, and their creativity and ideas matter, and here we go, and we're thriving. And congrats, and Zaina Degaya, I hope you can make that 2:30 window, because we've been trying to coordinate. Zaina is a success story here on SoFloRadio.com, and she could teach a seminar at this point. She teaches lots of seminars anyway, mostly yoga and yoga type things and breathing and meditation, but now she can add one more to her list, how to do a radio show right, because she does.
Congratulations.
She does do that right. So you turned me on to the Richard Pryor show. I watched half of it last night and the other half this morning, and there's so much that you can say about it. First of all, congratulations to him. Kudos to him, because he survived way longer than most people would have under the circumstances that he came up from. And when my first impression, see, I didn't know any of that until later.
Right.
Until other documentaries. I didn't know any of that early TV stuff that he did. We grew up, me and my friends grew up on his records like we did with Cheech and Chong and George Carlin.
That nigga's crazy.
People had the records, and we would sit and listen to the records, and it was very funny. And I had, growing up in the Redlands, this is when we first heard it. I told you, Jim, before the show, Jimmy Webb. Hey, Jimmy, shout out. Nice house with the pool and everything. His brother threw me in the pool, and I couldn't swim, bastard. Mm. You had to have money to have the records. That we didn't have the internet where we could just download and pirate from each other. Nobody was dubbing anything. Eight tracks weren't even out. Well, they were out, but and as a kid, I didn't know anybody that had an 8-track tape recorder in their house. Right. And even then, I got to buy a blank 8-track. I'm trying to save up money for a Slurpee. I'm putting money together because we got that big bicycle ride to Anderson's Corner later, and I want to buy a box of Red Hots and a Coke at Anderson's Corner on
they didn't have any 8 tracks
in the Redlands. People had 8 tracks in there, and they had them, but you had to be, you understand, in equivalent terms, it was the 70s. In the same terms, you had to be that guy, that audiophile with the stereo, with the big speakers and the reel-to-reel tape deck and the really good turntable. That guy had an 8-track recorder. Right. We had a console thing in Montana. That fast forward to the 80s. a console, one of those stereos box things you lifted up, and that had an 8-track recorder built into it. By the 80s, regular home units had this stuff built into it, but almost as quickly they disappeared and it all became cassettes by that time. So the bottom line is you had to go to your friend's house who had enough money to afford the records. And that usually meant some kid, you know, money parents. And that's where we sat. We sat at Rich Kid's house in his bedroom, listening to all these records, Richard Pryor, George Carlin, Cheech and Chong, and all of these things. And it was great. But we didn't, you know, when you're a kid, you don't bat an eyelash. You just grow up thinking this is comedy. These is comedy records. This is comedy recording. Right. You can say these words on the records. We know you can't say those words on the TV and the radio. That's why these comedians make comedy records. And I was vaguely aware that they did things on stage as well. But you know, you're a little kid. You don't really. But nothing shocks you. But everything is what it is. Like for the longest time, I thought Cheech and Chong were just these guys that made records. You know, like they didn't exist in any other capacity. Right. They sat in a studio, they made records, they went home. I didn't know, you know, you don't know things. And later on you see the movies and you get older and you realize that, a comedian, they do stand-up, they do movies, they do records, they do all of these things. By the time I figured that out, I was seeing him in movies, the comedy movies, with Gene Wilder. Right. And
what was it? Silver
Streak. Yeah. But I saw, what is it, Stir Crazy? Was Stir Crazy? Yeah. I saw that in the movies as a youngster. Wow. I don't remember what year it was, but I know it was 80s. Mm-hmm. And we were in the talk about target demographic for that movie. That movie was made for whatever age I was, because me and my friends thought it was the funniest thing ever.
You mean the scene when he was in jail and they had to be black? Gene Wilder?
Yeah.
See,
but my impression of Richard Pryor, and it's funny what I found out later. My impression of Richard Pryor, like in the movies and even watching that his old appearances on television, he was a clown. He was a clown that wasn't afraid to act silly and not take himself seriously. But I didn't get the impression that he was acting like to me. He wasn't shucking and jiving. I didn't see him as someone who was shucking and jiving, as opposed to Will Smith. Will Smith, I see that as the fakest act. It offends me. I don't know. I'm vicariously offended by the fake black act that Will Smith puts on in the movies. He might as well be wearing blackface.
See, the thing is with Richard Pryor. Let me take it back to what you said about Jimmy Webb.
Jimmy Webb, yeah, Jimmy with the white hair. He was so white, his hair was white.
What was so profound about the documentary is the fact that they spoke about it, like how black folks loved Richard Pryor, but white folks were buying the actual albums. Mm-hmm. Insert Jimmy. Pardon.
Insert Jimmy. And by the way, it wasn't Jimmy. It was like he had an older brother.
Right.
Everybody, we all had the cool. If you didn't have a friend who had the cool older brother, right. Like I had the cool older stepbrothers. That's why I know about Frank Zappa and illegal activities. Right. Boy, they were scummy. Just to compare.
But the point
I had a scummy upbringing. Go ahead.
The point I was making is that socially, you saw the effect that by watching the documentary, you saw the effect that this guy had in so many reaches. You know what I mean? As far as his style of comedy, he was actually shucking and jiving. If you watch the beginning of it, when he was as the contributors to the documentary said that he was attempting to be Bill Cosby, because Bill Cosby was the only black guy that was doing
Bill Cosby.
He was imitating Bill Cosby, and there was a lot of shucking and jiving, like, you know, what he did, the bit where he put a whole bunch of cigarettes in his mouth, like that. In my estimation of it was him trying to get that laugh.
I saw him, you know, that was clowning around, but I've seen lots of vaudeville, you know, that was like, to me, that was vaudeville. Pie in the face, seltzer water.
Right.
Yeah, I did vaudeville before I did radio. We did a vaudeville style summer theater, right. and that's exactly the, you know, sight gags, Three Stooges.
Right.
You know, I didn't,
comedy.
That to me looked very Three Stooges, very Jerry Lewis, and I didn't equate that kind of behavior with somebody drawing on because when I think shucking and jiving, I think, you know, a black person acting stereotypically black on purpose in a comical way, because the bigoted white people, they love this shit.
Right.
You know, that's my explanation of it. And I don't know. I didn't see him, acting like a black clown, just a clown.
I mean, if you say it's vaudeville, but think about that time period. The only images that you had of a black person in comedy would be somebody that's shucking and jiving, Amos and Andy. It wasn't until you got a Bill Cosby in a picture where it's like, oh, he can eloquently talk. He can articulate his jokes. So now Richard is the other half of it, but as it was said by some of the contributors, he's not really being himself. He's being a shell of someone else. So once, I guess he walked off on the Rat Pack or something like that.
Yeah, which I loved it. Mm-hmm. I loved it. That's great. That's an artist. He wasn't feeling it.
Right. That was the death of whatever he did prior to that. Mm-hmm. And then what we came to know
You said Pryor.
Yeah, I know. I caught it. And the birth of what we eventually come to know as Richard Pryor was essential.
But then see, and I really never, because I never really watched any of that footage from his early career. It seemed like towards the end there, he went back to that, because I remember watching that Superman movie, and this is after seeing him, and I don't know. I thought the Silver Streak and the Stir Crazy and those movies that he did with Gene Wilder,
right?
I thought they were funny. They were both being clowns. But when I saw that Superman performance, and I didn't know that they paid $4 million for that movie. It sold out. But did you ever see that movie?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I'm glad I didn't watch it again as an adult.
It was like he was making fun of himself. That was like a parody of himself. Yeah. He didn't just sell out, but like I'm not going to do anything in this movie that I didn't do in the first 5 years of my career. Until I saw this documentary, I didn't really, because I remember that horrible Superman movie. It was just an embarrassment to everyone.
Yeah,
it was an embarrassment to everyone involved. I think the camera people were embarrassed by that movie.
Yeah, the gaffers, the grips,
and Richard. I remember seeing him, and it's hard watching somebody that you have loved for so long,
right,
make a fool of themselves, and that's how I felt.
Remember
about
the toy?
That. I mean, and there you go again. Yeah,
Brewster's Millions.
I remember I watched Brewster's Millions. It was
a decent concept.
It was okay. He wasn't the toy. Again, shocking. I'm thinking, how much are they paying you to? If putting a bunch of cigarettes in your mouth isn't shucking and jiving, what's the toy?
Oh yeah.
If that's shucking and jiving, what's the toy?
The toy. Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to be a toy for a rich white guy.
Kid, yeah. Who was the father? Jackie Gleason. Jackie Gleason, yeah.
Again, I'm embarrassed for everybody involved.
Yeah. Yeah,
and speaking of, and it should have occurred to him, because I remember the Live on the Sunset Strip when he said, he went to Africa and there were no, I'm not gonna
niggas.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That's why I keep Jack around.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I can say spick between the. We need to get some a woman in here, like a lesbian or something like that.
I'm working on it
so that we can say dyke.
Yeah.
I would expect him to want to maintain some dignity, since obviously it seems that the other walking off the stage and not using the N-word anymore.
Right.
It sounds like he's concerned with appearances and his dignity, but then he goes and makes movies like that. And I know they backed a truck full of money up to my house. Beep beep beep. I couldn't say no. Okay.
Yeah, but one of the points that was made by the contributors, and it's really something that the people out there should check out. Richard Pryor, Icon.
Yes, on Netflix right now. You don't have to pay to watch it. Just go find a friend who has Netflix.
Yeah,
for example, I have Netflix. Jack has Netflix. You'll have to watch it on his phone. You'll have to watch it all huddled together, shoulder to shoulder. But that could be cozy.
Yeah.
I mean, it is Netflix and chill. You just watch it
by yourself.
Just you could sit lapsies.
Very selfish of me, but no. Well, one of the things they were saying, one of the contributors were that. He pretty much faded out. Oh no, the thing was, as far as him saying nigga, it's like that's what ignited you. That's what basically brought everyone to you. And for you to say, "Oh, I'm not going to say it anymore," it was a great stance, but you're going to lose any type of Even though Live on the Sunset Strip was great.
It was great.
You know, but you're going to lose that. That's what the people came to see. You know, they came to hear you say this, even though it wasn't said in a, as they said it wasn't said in a derogatory term. Tracy Morgan described it as it's a character. It's not a person. It's not, you know, it's a character. And by you not using it, it basically kills your act.
Yeah,
which leads you to doing the toy.
I'm an outside observer watching this, like the fight going on between the children of Abraham. I'm an outside observer. I want the children to get along. I don't. You know, this is like an internal dispute whether or not this word should be used. I'll be watching. I'm over here like in the spectator seat,
right.
wanting to be posted. You know, what's your take personally based on those two points of view, right? How do you use it in your life?
Yeah, I try not to.
You try not to,
but I do.
And when you do, how and what is the context? What is the scenario? Do you find that is it when you're singing along to songs or around some friends? Is it a peer thing? It comes up when you're around your peers, but not when you're around your kids. Is it like the way that we say "fuck"? I mean,
yeah, it's similar in that sense where I'm mindful where I use it. Like I'm still kind of iffy when I hear a down white boy. You know, definition of a down.
No,
white
I
boy.
don't know.
Right,
like Eminem.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost iffy when you hear that because I had, ironically, somebody's going to be on my show, who said, "Hey, my nigga Jak," and I'm like, had to pause for a second. Like,
are you allowed to say that?
You're not really allowed to say that, but you grew up around black friends, so
yeah.
No, you can't say
that.
Well, I mean, it's a powerful.
By the way, because I've heard interviews with Eminem,
right,
and it was kind of funny because certainly he's got some cred,
right.
He's respected amongst he's respected by some very respected people of color,
right.
You know, certainly,
right. That's clear.
Dr. Dre invites him to all the parties.
He's not very respected.
He's not well.
That's a whole nother story.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, but anyway, he was in an interview. They said, "You don't use the N-word." And he said, "I don't." And he said, "Why don't you?" And he said, "I don't. Because I don't." Like, I just don't. But he'll beat up on faggots.
To not tangent too far, but
Eminem a little bit.
Eminem is not the best example to use. I know a lot of white people would, especially when it comes to hip hop. There's pre-Eminem and there's post-Eminem in some people's estimation, but we have to keep in mind that
I thought the black people were cool with Eminem.
No, I mean they are, but we're not drinking the Kool-Aid. I mean, we kind of saw this years ago where a guy that wore tassels and dyed his hair owns a big plot of land in Tennessee, Memphis. Elvis.
Elvis.
It's been done
yeah.
before.
What about Elvis?
I mean, it's been
as far as white people that black people like.
Right. And white people that white people like. And a hip
white people that white people think black people like.
Right, exactly. So, Eminem is just ironically starts with an E. Eminem is just a creation by Jimmy Iovine and what's his name, Peter Rosenberg, his manager, that saw a gravy train, got a cosign from a reputable guy in the business, and I won't take anything away from his ability, but to basically tack all this thing on, he doesn't say the N-word. Of course he doesn't say the N-word to you on camera.
you think he does behind the scenes?
I mean, he probably does. I wouldn't put it past him, but to just say that, he's just the downest white boy, he will not ever say that. I mean,
okay. When he certainly gives off that impression.
Well,
is that he is very respectful of the community that he owes a living to.
Yeah.
If any part of that story is true, and I thought 8 Mile was very entertaining of a
That's
movie.
What it's supposed to be.
I found it difficult to swallow about half of it. Like I found it very difficult to believe that the only time that he got into a fight was when it was with a whole Escalade full of black guys. Yeah. Like how many were there? 6?
Yeah.
And that's the only time that he lost a fight.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I mean, he wasn't afraid of anybody and was attacking everybody, and he didn't care how big they were, and he wasn't getting the worst of that.
And you want to
took
know
6 of them in an Escalade.
You want to know the contradiction of that?
What's that?
All right, if you did care so much about, and it's not his job,
because I imagine, and the movie would have been a little bit better, and I think a little bit more realistic, maybe just maybe, if they had spent half of it with him getting his ass kicked.
Who wants to hear that? I mean, who wants to see that?
Me. That would have made the movie a little bit more that he endured all of these beatings in order to be able to ply his trade, be in the contest. It was just one more adversity that he had to face. Was he's a little guy, and in places where some people might not have wanted him there, and he would have had to get his ass kicked at some point or another.
A couple times.
Yeah, at least. At least.
Yeah, but that's not very motivating,
George. The beating in the movie was this this declared punishment execution thing. Now we are all going to go to the trailer park where he lives, and he, by the way, and he's just going to stand there and take this beating on this particular occasion.
Yeah.
Like all the other times, he's brave. He's diving over cars at you.
Right.
You know, right? No.
Well, let's just keep in mind that was probably his last cinematic. Production or
but it was very entertaining
at the time. Yeah.
I mean, you know, well, those kinds of movies are like sports movies. It's very easy to write that kind of story.
Yeah,
it's
you know the outcome.
Sure,
it's like Karate Kid.
The winner.
It's exactly like Karate Kid.
Exactly like Karate Kid. That's absolutely right. You got Cobra Khan.
Yeah.
Cobra Kai.
Whatever the name of that group was.
Sure.
The black guy.
It's a good formula. But, yeah, I thought it entertaining. But enough on Eminem.
But with the Richard Pryor thing, the use of the word, it kind of took away his edge. You know, and what's crazy is, you know what this is? It is our modern day Shakespeare tragedy.
Right.
You know, with these type of comedians, because you don't get a chance with not too many art forms, because Hollywood is manicured. It's created to be a certain way, as we just pointed out with 8 Mile. But with a comedian or people of that ilk, you know, some of these singers as well. You know, shout out to my man from Stone Temple Pilots passed away last week.
Yeah.
These are like walking tragedies, and you're either one of two people viewing it. You either can relate, or you're just mesmerized by it. Like, oh my God, look at him. He's Amy Winehouse. Look at Amy Winehouse. She's about to die at some point in time. And when it happens,
and she did.
And when it happens, you're like, oh shit, wow.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. He died at like 65, though. He lived until he was 65, Richard, which is a long time considering.
Pryor,
and once to put that in perspective, Neil didn't make it to 65, and Neil didn't have a $100 a day cocaine habit.
Yeah.
All right. Neil didn't set himself on fire.
He was supposed to be dead June 9th.
Smoking bass, but. You know, Neil, his substance was food. He did too much sugar. He was a type 2 diabetic. That's what his strokes were from. My brother was 42. I had a friend who was 35. I had another friend who was 29. These are all weight-related issues. So if people are all wiggy about Richard Pryor's substance abuse, you know, eventually it was MS.
Right.
He got MS, and I know people with MS that, you know, live very, very healthy lives. So, you know, he's a survivor. He survived all of the things that could have and would have the being raised in a he was born in a whorehouse. His mother was a prostitute. His grandmother was a pimp. Was a madam.
Right.
And so the drugs and the violence was all around, and a lot of kids don't make it out of that environment. A lot of kids succumb to that. Just being born in that environment is a miracle. Making it to adulthood, coming out of that environment, is a miracle. And then by the time you do get to adulthood, you know, most people would not be viable members of society after that point. Most people would be either dead or, at best, a person of questionable character.
Definitely.
By that time.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, to put it nicely, I mean, lots of people. My upbringing was there was shady shit going on around me all the time, thanks to my stepbrothers. By the way, I'm sitting there listening to Frank Zappa. They're enriching me culturally. I'm sitting in there because my father had a side house. He banished his sons to the side house. It was a big sprawling Redlands
Estate.
Land. It was white trash as all hell.
Okay.
You put a fancy wall around it, okay,
All right.
and gussy up the house a little bit, some fresh paint,
Right.
get some gardeners. You could start to call it an estate or maybe a compound, but it was just land.
Spread.
It was
Okay.
just land, and it had a big house and a littler, like the guest house,
Okay.
next to it. He banished his sons, his two older sons, to the guest house, where they immediately set up a pot dealership and motorcycle chop shop. I mean, come in! And so I watched it all going on all around me while listening to the Frank Zappa record. So I could have been influenced by that. But nobody, I don't know anybody that went through that much shit and came out so nice. Come on in! We set a place for you. Hello, Lisa Corrao is here, ladies and gentlemen. Woo! Hey!
Hello.
I'm going to come over here and get off mic so I can hug you.
Oh. What's up?
It's so great to see you. You're so bubbly and happy. We were just talking about Richard Pryor.
Oh no, what happened?
He died.
No.
Yeah.
He did?
Well, first he set himself on fire. He blew up. He exploded, but then no, he died. Jak mentioned that I should watch the documentary, the Richard Pryor Icon documentary. So we were watching that. He
He
suggested
caught
it.
on fire when he was doing the Pepsi commercial.
No,
Yeah.
that's a different black guy.
Yeah,
That's,
different
crap.
black guy with a Jerry curl.
Okay.
yeah, we have Michael Jackson's part of our thermostat system here.
I can't keep track of all these people who light on fire.
We have a language here in SoFlo Radio, and like if I'm a little bit cold, you know how some people say, could you put another log on the fire? We say, could you put another album in the vent? And then Jak says, would you like Diana Ross or Michael Jackson this time? And I'm like,
Off the wall?
they all
or,
look the same to me.
Yeah, it feels good in here.
It does. We do it. We got it down. The microphone adjustment thing. Thank you for visiting the studio, Lisa Corrao. Now that it's towards the end of the year, and I just turned 51 because year 50 was
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it was like last week or 2 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Anyway,
ago.
because you're 50, because the whole thing, and you have yet to be there. You got like 30 years
Yeah,
to get there. Year 50 was when in my life I had been putting everything off for like everything, like get your shit together, become
Yeah,
responsible.
what level of midlife crisis are you at right now?
Well, see, here's the thing, and I've discussed this before, and I don't know why people automatically always refer to it as a midlife crisis. I view it, at least in my personal case,
Three-quarters?
a mid-course correction.
Oh, okay.
The crisis is what was happening, okay?
good point.
That I am now ending.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
ceasing that. For example, to use the mid-course correction, you're in a ship, all right, and you're going completely the wrong way. You realize that the place that you set out for is way in another direction. You don't know how you got to where you're going, and you're headed for an iceberg. So way off course. So I'm going to bring out the charts and the sextant and the instruments, and I'm going to plot a new course, and I'm going to turn the wheel a little bit.
Okay.
This is not a crisis. I'm averting a crisis.
I
because
like that analogy. That's
Okay,
good.
so that's where I am at. So year 50 was the I put everything off. It's like just grow up already. So, and so I spent from 50 to 51 working on all that shit. And here it is.
And now everything's perfect.
And everything's perfect. Everything's
Well, great.
perfect. And I'll tell you this and
A lot of fucks.
with one exception, and perhaps this is why it's perfect. Because I'm very,
Because I'm here?
I'm very single.
Oh.
It's more perfect. You're just so bubbly and wonderful and getting younger all the time. Now that you're on TV, they're giving you the face injections that makes you younger,
oh,
right?
No,
It's
I actually what
made
I
out
do
of baby
is-
parts.
Yeah, I eat fetuses. You're
Oh,
very
okay, because I
close.
buy them.
Oh, okay.
I'm a
That makes
fetus
sense
dealer.
now.
I sell them
Yeah.
as extra jumbo shrimp.
Are they organic?
You know,
Because those are the
listen,
only ones that really work.
I saw both kinds, but they take the Planned Parenthood fetal tissue that they're selling. They make face extract from that, and the Hollywood people and the TV people, you get that, right?
No, what I actually have to do is find a pregnant woman who wants her baby, and I have to murder her and
Oh.
take that baby. It has to be a wanted pregnancy,
it.
otherwise you don't get that glow.
Tell me that you work some kind of satanic ritual into that.
No,
'cause-
I'm not into all
Oh
that. I'm
man,
not
because if you
religious at all. I'm
see,
agnostic.
see, if you were willing to just allow some of those trappings into that, we could really make a good snuff film.
Yeah.
it would be a seller.
Yeah.
It would be a hot seller.
I don't want to leave any evidence behind. Oh crap! We're
Speaking
probably
of
people are listening
leaving
to us right
evidence
now.
behind. Well, these people are used to me. Remember, second. You've heard of the Seventh Day Adventists, Second Day Cannibals.
Oh,
you
there
don't
you
know
go.
what that is? If an asteroid hits on Thursday, we're eating people on Friday. I'm
Oh,
not
okay.
waiting to be
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
emaciated. We've already come to the moral crossroads, and we're ready. We got the butcher shop.
Right.
I mean, my daughter's like, we're eating people on
You're
day
getting
2.
the smoker
Like, why are you
ready
eating? You've
Thursday
got all these
night.
canned
Pretty
goods. Got all these canned goods. Got when the people run out.
Yeah.
And get the canned goods. But
So many
speaking
people should be
of
eating.
eating people, that's the only thing in the world that we have too much of.
Yeah.
That's the
Oh,
only
that's
thing.
for sure.
There's only one thing that we have in surplus, and it's people. Who's going to start
Yeah.
recycling.
Oh, so true.
speaking of eating people,
Yes.
what happened with you had coffee this morning? Is something can we talk about?
I guess.
Yeah, because that was going to be my surprise. It's a good thing for me that I bring backup surprises.
Okay. Are you talking about Mitch?
Yes, I am talking
Oh, I don't know
about
why
Mitch.
it's a surprise. Yeah, my buddy Mitch Phillips. I just
Yes,
had a cup of coffee
our
with him.
mutual buddy Mitch Phillips.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
knew him longer.
That's true. That's true. I can't remember who
Oh,
I
yeah,
met
yeah, yeah.
first. I think maybe Mitch.
Maybe.
But yeah, I kind of met you guys around the same time.
Yes, but Mitch and I are cohorts from forever ago because
Yeah.
of the whole radio thing.
Right, right.
I used to before the internet, how I would masturbate is I
To
would
Mitch? Ew.
No, well, let me explain.
Interesting.
Let me explain because
No
we just
offense, Mitch.
had magazines. We just had magazines. What I would do
Got
is
it.
I would take a speaker and I would sit on it and play Mitch's voice while sitting on it because that would vibrate my balls.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, deep
vibrate my
voice.
balls. But I was looking at female porn.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But Mitch, it was a Mitch Phillips
But there's
commercial.
probably a Pavlovian connection in your
maybe,
brain now.
maybe. So now when I hear a Mitch
Ooh.
Phillips commercial, I get
Yeah.
all erect. Speaking of,
And you want to buy a Kia.
well, is he? I
don't know.
I thought he was going to be on the show. See, that was going to surprise you with a walk-in.
Oh, well, I just
I
had
hope-
that
and
wouldn't
now
be a
he's-
surprise at all.
And he
It would
said,
just be-
that he would let me know, and so now I don't know because
Oh.
he's so crazy.
He's insane.
He's crazy. He's
and that's coming from you, so that
And I don't know,
that
but
That's
I
saying a
love him.
a
Listen,
lot.
in show business and in radio, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's just how crazy are you?
Exactly.
Functionally,
Well, same thing
crazy?
in comedy.
In comedy. We were talking about that. Did you see the Richard Pryor?
No.
I thought you watch
have
it.
not.
You'll like
I
it.
will.
You'll like it. It's stuff. A lot of stuff that you already know and
Okay.
everything. But it's great and it's poignant. And it's got interviews with people.
Promise I'm gonna
And
see it.
Yeah, and I want to know because this is more important than any of it. What the fuck is going on with Louis Anderson's neck? Did you notice that
Louis.
his neck
Well-
is getting all like melting on one side?
I've opened
And
for Louis many times.
I watched I forget back when I used to watch comedy like on the cable, like the HBO specials and all those up
Yeah.
and coming comedy specials that they had in the early days of cable. There wasn't a lot on.
Right.
Anyway, I saw him when he was very young, and I loved him. He was hysterical. He had really good material
still really
and everything.
funny.
So he's in this movie, and I'm like, oh, there's Louis. I love you, Louis. What the fuck is wrong with your neck? It was scary. It's like melting on one side. Louis, don't die, because we're just talking about all the heavy people that I lost, and you're not one of them.
For sure. No, I lost weight instead
did.
of losing my life.
Yeah,
But
me too.
Louis, his weight has fluctuated for sure over the years. I know he's
So,
lost a lot of weight.
yeah.
And the skin's got nowhere to go. So
They-
there might be some parts that look a little funky, but he's
It
still
do-
funny.
well, they do.
That's all
They,
that
they
matters.
they cinch you up. I've done.
cinch you up.
They do. I've done research.
Right.
They remove it. Actually,
tie
they
everything
can.
in the
They
back?
can. They
Put
grafted
it in
it
a
onto
nice,
burn.
neat
They
little bow.
grafted
Right.
onto burn victims and everything. But if I got that, like, can you make something out of my own skin? Like, I'd like
Yeah.
to have a wallet made out of my own skin. And
Yeah.
that would be ghoulish and funny.
Oh yeah, just start making
At the same
products.
time, making
Yeah.
products. This is what's that wallet made out of? This is my belly fat.
My ass.
It's an ass.
It's an ass wallet.
It's a permanently attached. You can just make it. Just
This
sew it.
purse,
Just leave
this
it.
is
Leave
my
it attached.
vagina.
Can you turn this into a pouch?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So yes, my mid-course correction. Here's back to me. I accomplished the things that the to-do list,
Mm-hmm.
or at least started them in works. Like one of the things that I wanted to do was have my apartment tidied up. And you've been there. The former studio. It's the former studio. It's the
sure.
only-
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the carpet. That building is pre-1940.
Yeah.
And so is the carpet.
It's a cool building.
That's in it. It's very cool. It's painted. It's very kitschy and cool. But now,
I would imagine there's a cool floor under that carpet, like a cool wood
if by
floor.
cool you mean scary and rotted, then
it's,
yeah.
Oh, it's just like
I don't-
ghosts under there.
I think that it's just like layers of termite carcasses
Oh,
under there.
great.
That's what it is.
So charming.
Fossilized termite skeletons is all that's under there. So I'm getting new carpet and some new
Oh, that's
linoleum.
nice.
I'm getting the windows repainted, some of them replaced and everything. gussied up to be presentable, so that should I bring a female there, someone to be serious about.
You're trying to lure me to your
I
termite
have no
carcass house.
I have no delusions. I've already I know better, which is why I got you a sex toy for Christmas. Hey. All right, Joe Castello, come on in here, because you're going to move into the mid-course correction thing. Yep. I told you this show was going to be full of surprises.
We were just talking about the sex toy that George got me for Christmas.
Well,
too bad I'm not Jewish. I could get a whole bunch.
We had a discussion the other day because somebody gave me a glow wand that had a rubber tip on the end, and you bang on it and it lights up. It was for roller skating, and everybody said it looks like a sex toy. And we decided in the discussion that anything can be a sex toy or a bong in the right hands.
Oh, for sure.
Or the wrong hands.
Absolutely.
And likewise, your present, which I'll get to. But
my God,
mid-course correction, because Joe came in midway through the mid-course correction, because Joe's heard me describe it. It's not a mid-course crisis. It's a mid-course correction. The crisis is what you are ending or averting with the correction. To use a sailing analogy, sailing towards the rocks, not going where you want to go, headed towards an iceberg, you reset the course, and that's what I did between year 50 and year 51. And it's great, except for the reason that might be one of the reasons that it's great, and that is the very single, deep singleness, the deep single.
There's nothing wrong with that. Listen,
because
especially when you're doing your ship thing, okay, you're getting your life together. You have to get your life together before you.
There's a certain euphoria that comes from waking up in the morning and wondering what I'm going to do today, and having no one to discuss that with, having to ask no one's opinion or permission. Because remember in the old days, Joe, and it's so perfect that you're here right now, Joe Castello. I love you so much, ladies and gentlemen. So perfect. Remember in the olden days when you would call me and say, "Hey, the people, my wife, our mutual friends, we're thinking of going to a place and having fun." And I would say my running line was, "I have to check with the committee." Wasn't that my answer?
Oh, yes, it was. Very freeing and liberating for all of
us.
To not have
I said, I have a wife and two children. I have a wife and two children, and they all have to sign off on the permission slip to make sure that they don't need me for something at that time, because that's what it is when you're a married man with children. And I have to check with the committee. Now I wake up and then I have this one-person committee meeting. It's like, what shall I do today? Let me look at my to-do list. Okay, these are the have-dos. I can knock those out in 45 minutes. These are the ought-to-dos. I'll do one of these and tomorrow. And then the rest of the day, I think I will go to the beach and jerk off in the ocean. I don't know. Just
yow.
Whatever.
Sounds great.
Feed the shark. Or I'll go to the movies. I'll go have a nice meal. I'll call somebody. It's just an amazing, wonderful. I'm kayak shopping.
And here in Hollywood, Florida, there's so many single dudes jerking off in the ocean.
You were just eating baby fetuses when I was walking up the stairs. That's how far behind the delay is. That was the last thing I heard.
A new meaning of sea of children.
So anyway, there's nothing wrong with being single. I'm glad, and I'm getting it all together. The apartment fixed up a little bit, new carpet and everything to make it presentable. Give it a good cleaning.
I think that's great. And for people out there who are sad and depressed, and I always feel like that's where you should start. Like too many people get really sad and then they try to jump into a relationship to feel better, because it makes you feel better initially when someone likes you, like, but no, you're right. You should get your shit together in your home.
And it is the car is fixed, the debts are paid, everybody, and it's just nothing but I have all this free time, and now I know, speaking of mid-course correction, what I value. I'm not ever going to give any of those things up anymore. I'm not going to become someone else for the sake of someone else. I'm not going to have a relationship that isn't mutual and reciprocal. I know better than to get into any of that. I mean, she better be really something, for me to even consider making some changes or some shit like that. And that, it's a horrible trap, because
that's right. You be you, girl.
It's a trap.
I'm going to. It's a trap. Thank you, Admiral Akbar. Joe Castello, ladies and gentlemen. Before we begin with the giving of the gifts, and I wish I'd
giving.
You got nothing for me.
I brought nothing.
Inviting me here was my gift, because I have been. This is a part of my year coming in for this show. Awesome. It signals the beginning of true holidays, where I can do. If you want to check out on responsibilities,
come to the apartment later. I do have gifts. I do.
Oh, well, that is very enticing.
I really would like to entice
Lisa,
you. Sounds like drugs to me.
Wonderful
I don't know.
I have a gift at my apartment that will surprise you because I'm all full of surprises, like the one that I got for Lisa.
Lisa's Star Wars bag.
Oh, I have a Star Wars purse.
I want to. You know what? About a Star Wars bag. I keep reaching out to color it, and that's like I want to color Yoda over here.
Lisa and I have never met.
No,
I know.
Nice to meet you.
Because I wore.
But we have worked on the same radio station for a little while. When you and Mitch were doing the Jerk Show.
The Jerk Show, yeah.
And she cut a promo, because we followed afterwards. And her and Mitch had little witty banter chit-chat about the show that was coming on next. And you said I sounded like a jerk.
Oh, no, I did?
Awesome.
So,
well,
that
little
was
did you know.
the theme of the show.
See,
exactly.
And I'm going to say right now.
Yeah. Here I am.
You don't seem like a jerk to me.
Not yet.
When I first met Joe, I thought he was a jerk.
I apologize.
I thought Joe was a jerk also when I first met him. But after spending some time with him, I realized that he can't help it. Get it? That was a joke. You thought I was going to say something else, and I said something else. Oh, Jack, don't! No! Go back to where you were. She'll disappear behind the array. Go back to where you were. Okay. Do not listen to that man.
Yes.
No one. This is the forbidden zone.
Oh, well, am I blocking? You can. Yeah. I think he can.
You can
speak to me.
Swivel a little. You can swivel. Yeah, move that way.
Signals.
But don't. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and you.
We're moving.
You put a screen up
on Lisa's lap.
Jack cares too much, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Everyone should have a Jack.
Well,
in case you have a flat tire. What did you think I was talking about?
I brought in a bottle of this for our own enjoyment as much as I've had great experience with it. I don't know if you have ever tried it.
Yes, and I had a good breakfast.
So here you go. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I will surprise you if you come to the apartment after the show, and I was going to swing right over there, although I have to go to Home Depot and buy a wing nut.
We can discuss later. There's a little bit of a timing issue.
Okay.
But I will try greatly, and if not...
You won't...
I know.
Regret it.
That would be great.
Okay.
Ooh, what could be in the box?
I don't know, but you see the decorative glasses that we have over there, Joe Castello? I believe that we should...
Before we go any further, I was listening on TuneIn. That's how I listen most easily.
Likewise.
And they are blasting the show with commercials for some New England coffee, like over and over again, every overlays. 20 seconds.
Yeah, I got a piece of that. That's one of my revenue streams.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, boy, New England coffee, it's great. But I'm really loving the conversation. Very optimistic. The Richard Pryor stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Let me just catch up real quick. The N-word, horses out of the gate, man. All the young people, it's part of their regular words. You can't go back. We need to all start just using it. That's the only way to win. I was at an event recently with a large group of people that were under 25, and it's just thrown out in ways that I would never even imagine it applies. Yeah. It's so casual. It's so casual that it's with them. You see that they don't even. You said when someone says it to you, Jack, it's powerful. It is not powerful to them. It's like saying
it's like buddy.
No,
hey bro,
hey buddy, hey pal,
man.
Bro. Exactly, that's the best way,
up, bro.
See, the thing is,
white, black, Spanish, otherwise.
Like I told George, it's like I'm kind of like the bridge between your generation and the generation you were talking about. So when it comes across it, you kind of go through your filter like, should you be saying this shit?
But there's no way to re-educate all these people.
No, not
so
at
it's
all.
over. It's like
to bring it back.
I don't know about that. I think that people can grow and change and learn that they were, being nasty or whatever. And
in such
I feel
mass?
like it can happen. I like to remain optimistic. I know for me, even the conversation right now is uncomfortable because the way my parents raised me was absolutely under any circumstances you will never say that. And I said it once and my mom smacked me across the face and my parents never hit me. So, for that, it was such an impact on me that I was like, oh, this is important.
See, this was the whole reason about the whole Richard Pryor thing, because him, period, as a comedian is what makes subjects like this so polarizing, because you sit here and it's like, because of him, you're able to have the 7-second delay and a whole bunch of other things. But at the same time, it opened Pandora's box to things like, okay, hip hop's cool, but if you're using it in the manner that you're using it, it kind of puts you in a bad place as far as, like you said, educating people on how. Because before it was like, okay, black people say it as a term of endearment, but then you have 25-year-olds and younger that are using it in the same manner, like bro. But it's like you don't know the history of it. I don't care about the history. Now we're all fucked. So now you're put in a situation.
The young people don't.
Right.
Care about whatever, anything. You can't. Look, by the way, I've got the young people figured out. You know,
okay.
Because I got.
This is my fault. Maybe we should stop saying the young people.
You old man.
I have the
13-year-old who's my buddy. I have a 13-year-old. So my old ass has a 13. You know I'm gonna be grandfather, right? January 20th.
What?
It's the due date.
How?
Is that sexy, right? I got hotter immediately. Immediately got hotter. You just right?
Yeah, just all the way up.
Yeah, I know.
Did you guys see John Stamos' butt? No, okay, just keep going.
Anyway, but a 13-year-old, all that you can do, and this is from the Tao, is just help them achieve whatever it is that they're trying to achieve, and stay the hell out of their way.
Pretty much.
Otherwise, they'll kill you. They'll just kill you
and eat you.
They'll kill you and eat you. They don't care. They'll grind you underfoot. However, they're the most. They're like in comic book terms. They're like the Emperor from Star Wars or Darkseid and DC Comics and everything. You will serve my purpose or you will die. You know,
and very accurate.
And then as they're destroying people one or another, the people are screaming in agony. It's like, why aren't you killing him? And go, he is useful to my cause. You know, and they're pointing to me. It's like that's right. It's like I'd warned you. Know your place. I warned you. You know, adapt or perish, and they wouldn't listen.
The adults will become weaker.
Well, see, no. Here's the thing. Here's
older.
Here's the thing. Because it's my child. You understand? It's my child. So just like a scorpion, I feed my children with my own body, with my own carcass, and they will grow up strong and devour everyone else's children. It's all part of my evil plan. Excellent. That's how it is now. This is what the species has become. This is what the human organism is now. It's just this horrible flesh-eating, baby part selling or eating.
Well, that was the point I was trying to bring home with the Richard Pryor thing, is that he opened up Pandora's box. Yeah, there was a conservative, respect other people view, and then there was the, hey, let's speak our mind, let's do this. But there's another side to that, which is what we're living in now. And it's unfortunate because you wanted somebody to have freedom and be creative, but at the same time,
and Brewster's Millions was one of the greatest movies of all time.
Yes and no.
Social economic commentary.
I like Brewster's Millions.
That's really what it was about.
The toy, however, and Superman.
I was against the toy. against Superman. But Brewster's Millions is really appropriate today. I highly recommend everyone watch it.
Absolutely.
Bernie Sanders should use it as a...
Well, yes.
By the way, did you ever watch...
Couldn't spend $30 million to get $300 million.
Right.
I've been documentary binging. Watch The Men Who Made America, The Men Who Created America.
All over
because all of these, the Rockefeller and
JP
Carnegie
Morgan.
and all these guys, at the end of their lives, they were in a spending money contest. And which one was it that said? I think it was Rockefeller or Carnegie. It was Carnegie. It was Carnegie that said, "The man who dies rich dies disgraced." So all these greedy greedmongers that are running around these days, you know, you're doing it wrong. The biggest and bestest of you said that you shouldn't be doing that.
I spend all my money now.
But that goes
awesome.
But that
sounds good. I'm on the right track.
But that goes right back to what you were saying about this generation not paying attention to history.
They don't care. You're not going to make them care.
Billionaires included.
And you know, here's part of my other evil plan.
When we were kids, adults said this about us too.
Listen,
right? Exactly.
Life will teach them. Life will teach them. We have Facebook memes. That's okay. No, she's a teetotaler. We have Facebook memes. Remember, it's like to all the teenagers that think that life is hard, you just felt the tip of its dick. You know, like that. So I know that life is going to drive that message home. What they're not going to listen from us. Oh yeah,
it's coming.
They're going to find out. I've never had this before, Joe Castello.
It's very interesting.
It
is a Patron tequila offshoot. There was the XO Cafe, which was a coffee version. This is the XO Cafe, but with a peppery kick. And I have
it has a vinegary note.
I have served it a couple of times and got nothing but extremely positive feedback. And the tie-in is they are one of the major sponsors of the sport that I'm involved in.
Okay.
See,
just be, you know.
By the way,
be prepared for.
And it's not because I know I have no chance with Lisa Corrao because she likes fat guys. But
fat guys?
Are you currently involved with a fat guy?
She's a chubby.
No,
I am
person
not.
No, absolutely not.
But not currently involved with a fat person.
No.
But and I'm by the way, I'm fitter than ever. I'm under 20% body fat, weight, whatever, anything. But no,
starvation will do that for you.
That doesn't mean just because I'm going to be myself from now on, you know, and not change myself. That doesn't mean that I can't be very accommodating. That's, you know, and conscientious and considerate. I think I'm dripping this.
There was a pitch.
Yeah, you're dripping on my pants already.
Dripping a little bit
on my pants. That's okay.
Where's Jak? Is Jak in on this?
Okay, this Jack's got his because I don't. I'm all out of fucks.
This is interesting. So yes, I've had the coffee version. Cheers.
And this is the what version, Joe? This is called.
This is has a little spice
hot,
to it.
hot.
Chilies.
Chintante.
All right.
Let's go.
Ooh.
Wow.
I love that.
And then
it's like Fireball tequila,
but it keeps coming.
Wow.
Yeah, I like it.
Here it comes.
That's the one spicy.
Wait a minute.
Spicy.
Oh my!
It's great.
That's what I do.
Spicy.
There's a wave.
Yeah.
There is a wave. That's exactly right.
There's a wave. Speaking of wave,
I feel like
feeling.
if you know someone who likes tequila and spicy stuff, that's a great holiday gift.
By the way, would anyone like a bottle of water? You know, they're in the
sure.
I would love one.
They're in the refrigerator. Joe, would you do the honors? They're in the my divorce.
Thanks, Joe.
Refrigerator, which is great. And speaking of things that I think that Joe Castello would be interested in, because I know you can hear me from there. You know, I don't have regular TV anymore. I just have internet, and I have one of these little boxes that lets me see internet content on my TV. So I flip around and watch YouTube videos,
like an Apple TV kind of thing.
Not unlike an Apple TV kind of thing. So I'm flipping through the news streams that I can tune into, and I discovered DW News, and I'm like, "What's this?" And I'm watching it, and it's English language, and it's really good news, Joe Castello. DW News. Have you ever heard of it? So I looked it up online, as I'm really enjoying the news. Thank you. That I'm watching here. It stands for Deutsche Welle News, and it's out of Berlin, and they do news in so many languages on so many issues, and it stands for Dutch Wave. And Germany, as you know, is a socialist-esque country that has gotten all their shit together, and they believe in renewable energy and all
unions
and all that stuff.
Unions are
go unions and all that. Anyway, really good news, Deutsche News. You know, for those people that want real news and you're tired of the British accents or something, they don't have any accents over there. I think that now that we've got that shot out of the way, I should give Lisa her present. So
Yes.
you know, it's pink. It's phallic.
Careful.
I feel bad because I didn't.
Careful.
bring you anything
Well, that's what it's all
this
about.
time.
That's what it's all about.
It's all about.
It's all about
getting.
making the other person feel bad.
It's all about getting.
It's all
stuff.
about the holidays. It's all about laying a trip on someone, making them feel bad.
All right.
That's okay.
Let's bring it on.
You're here. This is my present. You're here on my show, boosting my ratings.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
Look, everybody, pretty women talk to me. Hey.
It's wait. I thought this was radio. Okay.
Right. So yeah, well,
there's a camera.
it's all about the video anymore. That's become more important.
That's what the kids like.
That's become more important than the audio aspect. So now it's not a radio show. It's a radio flavored audio video show. The YouTube views almost always surpass the downloads now, the audio downloads now, for most of the shows that we have on here. That's YouTube is it. Listen,
That's what the
looking
kids
stuff
like.
up. I was looking up how to
There you go
reduce my engine clicking for that. or for the comedy drums, in case someone says something funny. A lot of pressure
Cute.
on you. You want to, do you know how these work? Have you seen
No.
these before? They make something that's medium funny, medium more funny.
Oh, like a rim shot.
Like a rim shot, yes.
Yeah.
Like a rim shot, for example.
That cues the audience to laugh.
That's right, they need that. For example, how do you keep a heart on?
How?
Don't fuck with it.
Oh, hey.
See how that's
see how that
funnier.
works.
It's funnier now.
Well,
like
it was
that.
more the rim shot was funny than what you
That's
said.
it. Yeah, that's it.
At least she's
It's
honest.
just a funny
you could
noise.
say anything, and it would be funny. So your present is pink. It's phallic. It's electric.
Goodness. Okay.
Okay.
Wow.
It's
electric.
Wow.
Yeah. And it'll shock you.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
Can you,
it's
so,
is it,
so can
is
you
it a
guess? Can you guess what it
taser?
is? Yeah.
Is it really? Oh my god.
Really?
I
Yeah.
really-
But it's not just.
I was super excited to see her use it. And now I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Here I go. I'm
Yeah.
opening
You're
it
like
up.
a genius all up inside my head like
Wait a
that.
second.
You know.
Can we get a drum roll?
Pink
Oh wait,
and
well, I need another
shocking.
drum. I need a
Ladies
drumstick.
and gentlemen, was he kidding? And indeed, it is a lipstick stun gun.
Nice.
Sir, this is a great gift for a lady such as myself.
Especially hecklers.
Independent.
Sure.
Whatnot. Out on my own. And this is quite phallic.
Yeah.
It's
It's all the things that I said. It's phallic. It's pink.
so
it's electric.
I can
do you want me to
thwart danger and make someone aware of
all
breast cancer
day? You
at
can
the
thwart
same
the danger.
time?
Does that
Where's
really
the-
work?
Look
Pull it
at
out,
that.
and then of course the green light. You know,
Yeah, how do we know if it works?
it's just
We
a
have
nice
to
little,
tase,
nice
George.
little flashlight
Oh, it's
there.
a flashlight too.
Okay, see the red button right over here? Yeah.
That looks like it'll hurt.
So it's right there in the palm of your hand. How nice and simple.
Joe jerk back.
Where do you buy anything? Amazon.
I am taking this back to New York with me. For sure.
I'm a thoughtful person. Tell your female friends. I know this guy in Florida got all the shit together, and he's thoughtful.
This is really thoughtful because let me tell you, as a woman in comedy, I'm walking around at night all the time, strange places, and I've been followed after shows and all kinds of creepy dudes. This is fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome.
I can tell you, it's a deterrent just looking at it. You crack that thing and I'm running away.
I feel deterred.
Yeah.
I like how pretty they made it.
Hey, Lisa.
I feel deterred.
Do you mind if I ask you about this event you got coming up on the 23rd?
What do I have on the 23rd?
Something in Wynwood.
Oh, yeah. I'm like, wait.
Wait.
I take one show at a time. I'm like, what am I doing?
By the way, I got you that because here's how I thought of that. We'll do promotional stuff when you get your package together.
Really nice.
I know that because I have women in my life and they're harassed all the time. You don't have to be pretty. Sure. You don't have to be pretty, but it helps. You don't have to be pretty to get harassed.
Way more,
but way more. And I'm embarrassed for my gender, no question. And I did find out that women are as capable of evil as men are, but men are the kind of evil that men are capable of is that physical kind because they have that option, And some guys they don't know where that line is. So yes. Pretty young lady like yourself might want to electrocute someone someday.
I really want to. I can't wait for the next person to come at me with his dick out.
Woo! I told you it's going to be a zapper. It's going to be a stunner. This is really yummy stuff, Joe.
And I'm going to zap their dick too. I'm not even going to go for their arm. Yeah,
right on. Let me see it.
Yeah, I'll be like, ooh, how'd you know I wanted that? To trick them and let their guard down. And then
I don't know.
Right on the tip.
I think they'll go unconscious at some point.
There are a lot of guys that would enjoy that.
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't. Man, the dark web, the deep web.
Well, maybe I'll make a few bucks then. Either way, it's a good gift, George.
Man, either way. You're very welcome, the beautiful Lisa Corrao. It's a blessing. It's a blessing when you visit my radio show because you're an actually funny person.
Aw, thanks. Where do you buy one of these?
Dude, Amazon. Seriously, Amazon is... Listen, what Amazon doesn't have, Bob's News in Fort Lauderdale, it does. Between Amazon and Bob's News, you can get whatever. You could get Indonesian children from Bob's News.
Lipstick. Like
I know.
Who would pull out a lipstick this big? Like,
whores.
How big? No.
This morning, I did all my Christmas shopping on Amazon in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I was stressing like, there's too much time. I was like, I was going to go to the store, Toys R Us. Like, you know what? Amazon. Boom. Amazon Prime. Star Wars.
Amazon wish list.
Boom. Yes.
By the way, my Amazon wish list is The George Rodriguez. It's under The George Rodriguez. If you want to find it by email, it's The George Rodriguez.
What the heck is an Amazon wish list?
How do you exist without an Amazon wish list?
Who knew?
Oh my God!
You just click on stuff you like and it saves it.
Do you know not have friends or family members?
Not a lot of friends.
You have an Amazon wish list.
No, I don't.
See, we both do.
Anyway,
but I've heard of it.
It is a way. It's like a wedding registry.
It's like a wedding registry,
but for yourself, and you just put it on there, and then if your birthday or Christmas is coming up, people look you up on Amazon and say, "Oh, Joe wants a widget," and you can order it right from there. You can just go like buy, and it takes it off your wish list because some asshole bought it for you. You can take it off your wish list. You delete it, so it's like a little. I got that now, and it's a great way for people not to get the same present for people on their birthday, and
that is fantastic.
Yeah, it's stuff.
It's really Amazon is going to take over the world. Initially, I fought them, and then I fully embraced them, the same as I did with Uber.
Sure.
Thought it was bad at first, then realized, no, this is not bad. This is great.
And there's Lyft now, too, that competes. And you have to watch because Lyft will do great discounts to compete with Uber, and you can get half off.
Don't they have a mustache on the front of all their cars?
No, not anymore.
They took that off.
When
the
they
pink
started,
mustache.
They don't do it anymore.
That's great news because I was under full protest of that.
Yeah, no,
but now
they're
I
just
can
normal
be
now.
involved.
Wow, yeah, you didn't like that mustache?
No,
why?
Because it's corny.
Okay,
shucking and jiving.
It is in a. the pink mustachio, those 1890s pink mustachioed men find that very exploitive. So, do you have a show coming up now that Jak mentioned?
Okay. So, it took me a second to figure out where I was going to be on the 23rd, but it's called the Wynwood Comedy Festival. It's not something that I believe has ever happened before. My friend,
it's never been any comedy
Richie
in Wynwood.
The inaugural.
Actually, when I tell people
it's not
about
a funny place.
Comedy,
it's tragic
in Florida, I think Wynwood has some really great shows, and they bring out fabulous audiences. I really like the audiences there. They seem to be into comedy, so I enjoy performing around Wynwood. So my friend Richie Leese put this together, and apparently I'm hosting the early show, and I think there's like I don't know if it's a contest for the comedians in it or what. I wish I knew more about it because I should promote it, I guess. But my friend Richie was just like, "Hey, you want to host this?" I was like, "Sure."
What's the venue?
Is that a Tuesday? Is that a Tuesday or a Wednesday?
That's Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday.
I'm looking at the screen like you are.
Comedy. It's at the Comic Cure.
Thank you.
I need
Thanks for knowing.
I need a napkin there, Jak Charles. I'm oozing all over myself. Can you give me a napkin?
I'm at Gigi's Music Cafe tonight. I'm at
Oh.
American Rock Bar tomorrow.
Where's Gigi's?
That's in Sunrise.
Oh.
And
Sunrise isn't terribly far away.
It's not. Yeah,
It's almost
that's
spoiled,
a fun little place. But again, like
I don't like to schlep too far anymore. It's like you got to talk me into it. It's like,
I'm really impressed that I just talked about 3 shows because I really do take one show at a time. I'm just like, where am I going to be tomorrow? I don't know. So
you have an organizer or something, right?
I do. I have to live by that because otherwise I just.
It's well.
I get overwhelmed.
Me too. I mean, I smoke weed, so I have to be very organized. People
I think it's great that.
How are you so organized as a weed smoker? I go, how are you not? How are you not?
You're a comedian, and there's like a circuit you're working down here that seems so advanced. I didn't know that there was a circuit. Different places in South Florida.
It's been systemized for a while now because
I never think of it as a circuit.
Well, you work here, and then you work here, and you work here.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Is that a bad
I don't
word?
know. I don't even know.
Seems sexual.
Florida is a very, and especially this time of year, is touristy, and there's entertainment stuff going on. I found this out by hanging out with the rave DJs, DJ Special K, DJ Ecstasy, and these people. They try to coordinate with each other because otherwise they wind up competing with each other for the same weekend or the same night. And I found out later it's the same thing with the rock bands and with the comedy acts and all the different clubs. They try to come up with a good rotation system.
Yeah, well, you should if you're smart. I mean, we mostly all know each other, and it's like if you're going to open up a comedy room right next to another comedy room, it doesn't help anybody. So, yeah, we do try to, I think, as a comedy scene, try to coordinate that kind of stuff. And for me, I try not to run too many shows anymore. I try just to be in them. So I'm a little bit out of the producing loop.
What time is your show tonight in Sunrise?
8 or 8:30. I don't know.
8 or 8:30.
It sounds like you guys should Google it out there if you really want to go.
Where was the Sunrise?
It's I want to say it's off Pine Island. It's called Gigi's.
Gigi's.
Look it up.
Gigi's in Sunrise.
If you really want to go.
I want to see your act. I heard you on with Mitch for a while.
Oh, okay.
I really want to go.
Yeah, that's cool.
Lisa's very funny.
Oh, thanks. On this show, though, I'll be honest, I don't think I'm doing a real long set. They were putting flyers up like I'm headlining, but I think I'm only doing like 15 or 20.
Okay.
That's not like a headline set. I feel like that's exaggerating a little bit. Headline set's more like 45.
What is your general subject matter?
God, I hate when people ask me that question because I don't know my answer.
She's all over the place.
I
make fun of stuff.
She rips the guys that she dates. She absolutely shreds them. I make fun
of myself. I make fun of observations.
She had one of my favorite something that I admire you for, and I thought it was very funny, was your Ambien addiction talk.
Oh God,
I thought that was very funny.
How's that stuff legal?
I don't know.
It's the only time, because we're very candid on the George Rodriguez show, and I go, the AM stands for amnesia. There's only one time, and Joe and I have partied together. We've taken it to the limit, and the only time, and Joe, and you know this,
you got to fight all
the things I've taken. The only time that I don't remember events that I really should have remembered was on Ambien, where people are telling me about it.
Well, people go driving on Ambien and don't remember it. First of all, do they even still sell Ambien? Is it still out there? Okay, that's great news.
As someone who's addicted to it, I can tell you,
Well, it's a miracle. If you're any person, and you as a comedian probably have the kind of brain that works and maybe won't shut down, when you want it to. It's time to sleep. The brain's like, no, I'm thinking about stuff.
God, that's
Ambien.
a really good point.
Will solve the problem. You take the Ambien Ambien, 20 minutes later, you are sleeping, like it or not, unless you willfully fight off the sleep, and then it becomes fun.
Well, I don't even know if it's willfully. You don't know that you're fighting it off. And I've taken an Ambien and then gone into that state where you're not remembering anything or knowing what you're doing. And then I've taken more Ambiens.
Ooh.
Very dangerous. And then, like, some people, I've never left my house on it, but I've woken up the next day and found that I've moved heavy boxes onto tables. I'm like, I could have actually hurt myself doing that.
Yeah.
And then I've tweeted a few times, not knowing what I was tweeting. I turned on my webcam once, and that was kind of funny. It wasn't anything like gross or dirty. But here's a note in my phone that I wrote on Ambien, and I discovered this recently. I didn't even know it was in there.
See, I love how she shares.
So, okay, this is the note, okay? I love these when I find these things because they start out sounding like you're kind of like you're holding it together, and then it just goes off the rails. Okay. I took an Ambien. I'm exhausted but can't sleep. I should write jokes, which that's, it's the perfect time to write when you're on drugs.
Right. Ambien, of course it is.
Right. Jokes about the world and world things like politics. Blem. I don't know what blem is.
Blem.
No, it's not real Italian sauce if it doesn't have hair in it. That's a political joke, I guess, in my head. It's like, I don't know how that's in my subconscious, but I will say...
Keep going, please.
I've seen the joke about cat hair, like, it's not real good food if there's not cat hair in it, which is disgusting. And I just made that Italian. I like my iPhone. I can't see right now. Typing with eyes closed. Wow, that worked. I love my children, mostly Josie. I only have one child, by the way. And her name is Josie.
She's adorable.
Yes. I miss Grandma. I'm sorry for bad things. I want to be happy. Happy, joyful. I love. I want a meatball. I want a place to live again. This is when I was living with my parents. This is my wish one day. I keep working hard, but unorganized.
Of course.
Yeah, there you go. Please.
The only way.
I hope the flea market pays me a load of money. Festival Flea Market, everyone. I still do commercials for them.
Excellent.
There's a little plug for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I want a hamburger. I love food, guys.
And a meatball. And
Yeah. And nice hair. I want to do a good job this week. I don't want Nick DiPaolo to hit on me. It was when I was working with Nick DiPaolo, clearly. But I want him to think I'm funny. That's all I want. From everybody. Harder to type. Keys hard. What about a roasted pig? Just goes back to food each time. Keys hard. It's still in animal form. I think I was still talking about the roasted pig there. It's like eating human right off of the torso. There you go, George.
Awesome.
I just want to be loved and cared for, and cuddles, and a dog with a yard and a pool. Brain won't give up, fading. What if INIH groceries store and I only had things in my basket they would never have?
Yeah, we're getting
like
off the
old
rails
stuff from Y House, and then it ends.
Wow. What a joy.
That's
what a joy
it's like
it would
to be on Ambien.
to be around you. One of the funniest things you told me is like my daughter asked me to take an Ambien and tell her a story.
Tell bedtime stories.
Bedtime
yeah,
stories.
she did. She was
And
like, she said to me, Mom, can you take an Ambien and tell me a bedtime story?
What a treat. What a joy that would be.
Yeah.
At least on Ambien. If you think she's funny now, ladies and
Follow
gentlemen.
me on Twitter. Well, the first time I tweeted on Ambien, I had the wherewithal to do hashtag Ambien on all the tweets, and I got a bunch of followers from it. And then that week, I went to see my therapist, and I told her all about it, like excited that I got followers, and she was like, "Stop taking Ambien. That's really bad for you." I'm like, "What? You don't think
that's great for my career? What? I have a following because of that."
Though.
It's true. Well, I appreciate the candidness. That's something that came up in the Richard Pryor thing that the other comedians were talking about. How
showing
it's very common. They said, was it George Lopez? It says, show me a comedian whose life is better off the stage than on the stage, and then they're a liar. They're lying. That everybody, basically we're all fucked up people and use that to write jokes about, which is great. That makes you lucky because there are lots of fucked up people out there, and lots of people with tragic lives that don't have the ability to turn it into comedy. They weren't born with a sense of humor.
It's a great way to look
where
at
it. They can't make a joke. It's like people without a radio show. When you get fucked over and you don't have the vehicle, or because I think
outlet.
that immediately when something horrible happens, I'm like, at least I got material, at least I got a story, at least I got something that I can talk about, and that's how I make my living. Because to other people, Nothing. You've got nothing. No consolation prize.
It's really a good point, George. When everyone's life sucks.
Right. Yeah. To them, from their perspective.
For sure.
But we actually get to make something out of it. In my case, the talk show material.
I'm very satisfied with my life.
Adam,
my life is awesome.
And that's why you're not really funny.
I'm very.
I know. Look happy.
I'm very satisfied with my life.
You
saw not to totally.
First of all, Joe his skin is glowing.
Still looks 27.
Yeah.
Full head of hair.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, what do you have to be sad about? You look at you.
Yep. He does well.
Nice eyes.
Yep.
Keep going.
Straight teeth.
I'm listening.
Got everything going for you, pal.
Trying
to make up for calling him a jerk.
Yeah.
You don't have to suffer. Thank you very much. I am very satisfied with my life.
Good.
It's almost embarrassing. It's like waiting for the other shoe to drop. Things are going great.
Fast forward to Joe killing himself later.
Walking out of here.
Cut a pinky off or something quick.
I feel that way. No, but you know what? I've gone pretty well so far. I feel like just going to ride it out. When bad comes, I'll be ready for it.
God, but this is a call for help right now.
No, it's call for
We'll do the playback.
Playback, baby. But I just saw on your Twitter, when I followed you on Twitter, that you went and saw Star Wars.
Last night. Dude, it was amazing.
Can you say positive things without spoiling it?
First of all, I would never spoil it because I know for me, I didn't even want to watch the trailers. I wanted.
She was dressed like Leia. She had the Leia hair.
I had buns. I tweeted a picture with a stormtrooper who was there, and I wore tight leather pants. And I didn't think that guys would get that excited.
So just give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Such a big thumbs up, especially if
everybody says
yay.
If you were a fan of Star Wars, it gives you everything that you want as a fan, and it's just so great. I saw it at the IMAX, which I highly recommend.
We're here in this town?
In Fort Lauderdale last night, yeah. And my friends over at SuperCon, the comic book conventions that happen down here, actually, the guy who runs those conventions, Mike Broder, bought 150 tickets and gave them out to all his friends. So I'm so glad that I'm one of his friends. And we had a great old time going together. The next con, by the way, next month is Magic City, and I will be performing there. So there's a show I remember in advance.
Okay.
And,
do you ever dress up?
I do sometimes,
like
although generally at these cons now I'm doing stand up and I don't like to be in a costume when I'm doing stand-up.
Why wouldn't that be funny?
Because I think it takes you out of, as an audience member, listening to my problems as I'm dressed up,
like
as
Princess
whatever.
Leia.
Princess Leia talking about her deadbeat boyfriend.
It's just like
great.
How can you complain about stuff if you're wearing Princess Leia buns?
I guess. I suppose.
I don't know. It just seems weird.
Change. No, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of it, but you could always dress like a comedy robot. I don't know.
I've done a sketch with a comedy robot.
With a comedy robot? Was it a funny comedy robot? Was it a real robot?
Well, the sketch was,
like a robot?
My character was that I was an inventor.
Okay.
And I built this robot to replace comedians because comedians are such a high cost to comedy clubs.
Right.
And this robot comedian replaces comedians and won't hit on the wait staff, and you can program it to whatever style of comedy you want. So the way the sketch went was I had this robot voice through my computer just saying all these jokes for different styles, and eventually it broke.
Okay.
And it got stuck on the N-word, which we were just talking about, and the robot kept saying the N-word. And
did I see this on something? Was this a short story?
I was just ripping wires out of this thing that I created that was just, going haywire.
Where can I see this? This sounds real familiar.
I'm going to do it, probably in New York soon, and hopefully film it.
It'll be filmed?
And, yeah.
How cool. With a real robot or just a computer? Just as a speaker?
It's a robot that I built, but the voice is a computer.
Okay. Awesome. But you didn't really build it.
Oh, I can build a robot.
Get out.
I don't know.
You build a robot?
For sure. Absolutely.
Why do you think she's incapable of building a robot?
Because she's a woman and they don't know how to do anything.
Boobs get in the way when you try to use tools.
Do the controls or something.
That's what
I try to grab a wrench and then I have a nipple.
Right, because that would make you too multi-talented. Not everybody can do everything, right? Some people get real close to doing everything. You're living in New York?
Yes, I live in New York
because you're on TV.
Well, I don't think that's why.
Where though? I heard that on the way in. Where are you on TV?
I live in Astoria. Oh. Good question. Where am I on TV? I'm not in enough places. Not probably anywhere you would have seen. Although in South Florida, the festival flea market commercials, they play pretty often. And I've done over 100 commercials with them now. Can you
Congratulations.
believe that? Yeah,
they love you.
Yeah, I love them too. You know, it's been like a 6 or 7 year gig for me now.
That's great.
And and I'm, their spokesperson, and a lot of times in South Florida, people recognize me from that. But I've done many commercials. I've done some stuff with Nickelodeon. I played a witch on Every Which Way. And that was really cool because then I got a whole kid fan base too, which is adorable.
Yeah.
Because they write you letters, which I've never experienced. Like the first kid who asked me for my address, I was like, my email address? And they're like, no, I want to mail you something. I'm like, what? What is that? And then I started getting all this fan mail that was all like, and they color it with crayons, and
that's
it's
awesome.
So cute. Yeah, I wrote back to every single kid who wrote to me and like sent them an autograph thing. Yeah,
You're
I mean,
great.
I wasn't, it's not like I got thousands upon thousands. I could handle the load of it. But yeah, some Nickelodeon stuff. And some miscellaneous thing. Nothing huge yet, guys. I'm working on it. Jeez.
Well, no,
I
want your big time career, the New York career, to fail, so that you'll wind up in South Florida with all of the other,
the New York career to succeed.
Hurry up and fail and be down here.
I don't want to be in New York. I mean, New York's great, for a lot of reasons, but that's not really my home. I was born in New York, raised here. I would rather live here. I like the weather so much more. New York is really hard and expensive. And the thing is, though, the comedy industry is there.
Yeah.
So if you want to get seen and be like, hey, people, look at me. I'm a comedian who could be on TV. You have to be in front of them. So, guys, I would much rather be in South Florida. This is my home.
Okay, good. Well, and this is part of it, SoFlo Radio. We have people on all the time, local musicians, actors. We have, Rick's show on the radio, entire show dedicated to showcasing the music and the actors that live here.
There is a whole entertainment scene.
There's a whole entertainment scene down here, and I don't even know where they're at with the they changed the tax law. They had some tax breaks for the movie industry that Rick Scott took away, and I think they're trying to bring them back. I don't know where they're at with that.
Like a stipend or something.
Because it's shameful. This is the perfect place to shoot movies and TV shows. We have the weather for it. It doesn't freeze. It's cheap. The zoning.
How is there not more industry?
We got
here?
lots and lots of lots. Here, lots of lots in South Florida, and the beach, and
there's just a better quality of life.
I think they just got a little too cocky. With all the shows. What was it? The last one was Burn Notice.
They wanted to cash in. They wanted to cash in.
Yeah,
on
the
it.
Glades.
It was horrible.
Yeah, and they got a little.
Burn Notice ran to its conclusion and had great success.
Right,
but then every show ends, and it ended. And I think the Glades was here for a while.
And then Bloodline is what they're shooting now. Like, there's stuff happening for sure. There is a scene. You can get acting work. You can actually get a lot of acting work. But to sort of break through that level of, really making it in your career, it's L.A. or New York. It's still that way, unfortunately.
I was an extra on Burn Notice.
Ooh.
Yes.
I was a extra
and everything.
Put the microphone.
That's where I know you from.
Yeah.
You were that guy in the background.
I was. You saw me. I knew it.
My daughter found me. I was an extra on Rock of Ages. I was roller skating extra. I got paid to roller skate.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah, I know.
That's your dream.
Anyway, of course, the part of you see me skating, but the crowd's all moving around. The only time that you see my head is when I'm turning around and looking at the actress's butt, so you see the back of my head and my bald spot, and that's it. But I'm on skates.
Oh, I love skating with George, by the way. It's really fun. And the last couple times I went, I just remember skating, and I don't do any tricks like you do, but I really love to go roller skating. But like all the single dads would be like skating all around me and like trying to impress me, like
a cloud of gnats.
Hubba. Yes. The last time I went skating with George, or George and I were at the same roller skating rink together, was not good.
Yeah, severe leg injury.
Oh no!
Day. I fell is not the right word for it.
Fell?
I fell hard.
Oh no!
I received a phone call. I was out, and then I got a phone call like
from the middle of the rink.
Come back.
Yeah, I was laying. I crawled off. I should probably start at the beginning. I was doing the sideways.
Sorry to bring up a
They call it the crab here or whatever. It was horrible. What the saddest part about the injury was that the skate group lost momentum and never really reformed the same way, because we had a group of regulars that were going, but then since I wasn't skating because of my injury, it just kind of fell apart and never got the momentum back.
That's true. Now that you mention it, that did destroy the skate group.
I'm going Thank you, George. I'm going 3 to 4 times a week now, so I'm better than ever. I'm at an all new skate category.
If you've never seen George skate, it's amazing.
He's a show off.
I'm even better. It's amazing. Thank you. And thank you, JR, and the staff at Galaxy for being really nice. They threw me a surprise birthday party. I'm such a regular customer now. It's like really nice. So anyway,
when I was a kid, I worked there. I worked at Galaxy.
That's how cool.
The one in North Lauderdale.
I want to work there. They won't hire me. I'm too much of a pain in the ass.
Oh, I actually hated the job because I worked the snack bar. And I just felt like it was gross.
It is gross.
Just like a gross,
people
gross
abuse
food.
you, and it's your fault.
But that wasn't really the bad part of the job. They made me be the birthday clown, and it was like, wait, I didn't sign up to be the birthday clown, and I was this height, and all the kids are taller than me, so they're doing that condescending height measuring thing with that karate chop move. Like, hey, look, I'm taller than the birthday clown. You know how humiliating that
you are
is?
a clown.
Yeah.
So here's my injury. I'm doing the sideways thing. The splits, the crab, right. I'm going around sideways, and this girl cuts me off. All right, and
that bitch.
My choice was go left or right, and I went right. Well, she cuts off again. She cut my path off again. At this point, the wall was right there, and I fell over my front leg. I jackknifed. I fell over my front leg, so I did kind of a splits and just folded up over my front leg and tore the hamstrings on my back thigh. Really bad. I think it popped my hip out a little bit too. Anyway, it sounded like somebody tearing a guitar in my head. It was like a bunch of crunching, cracking, and twanging that was going on, like twang. It really sounded like that, and it was like being electrocuted. And I almost passed out, and the people are whizzing all around me, so I crawl off the floor, dragging my limp leg behind me. And I threw myself on my back in the carpeting and called Joe. And Joe helped me out to my car, and I drove home with my left leg. And my leg was just hanging there like a noodle.
No.
And I went to the doctor, and he felt me. It's like, well, we could operate and sew some things up, but you should probably just stay off of it.
I think I should go to the next skate night just to erase this bad memory.
Yeah.
Or maybe when you go again, something horrible will happen again.
It was a couple of months.
Excellent test.
It was a couple of months that I couldn't, in like 3 before I dared skate again. And just to let you know, everything's great with my leg, and I can do the rolling splits better than ever. And besides, there's a scar ball back here. And you ever have a scar ball? Awful. Like when I'm feeling my leg, there's like a ball there. It's a scar, but whatever. It's just it doesn't hurt. Ball. It doesn't hurt, and I'm skating. That's all part of the health thing. The year 50. I just. My 13 scar balls. No, my daughter can't get to the rink enough, and she, we normally would go twice a week, Wednesday and Sunday, and I have her every weekend.
You go to the one in
Davie, right? Because the wooden floor, you know it. And we're sitting around on Saturday, and she's like, can we go skating? And I'm like, well, skating or sitting around, because she doesn't really want to do the outside park thing. So I'm like, why not? So now Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, and now when school's off, she knows, she reads the schedule. When there's a day off from school, I know that she's just sitting at home. Mm-hmm. And she's like, hey, there's no school on Friday. Can we go skating? And I have to come up as a parent with a good answer. I don't want, no, we already went. Remember the fun quota when you were a kid? You already went to Jimmy's twice this week. I'm like, oh, I'm over my fun quota.
Yeah.
I just had too much fun this week. You remember that? Did your parents ever?
Yeah, they kind of did now that I think about it.
And so I always resented that. That stayed with me. And so it's like, no, we don't have a skating quota.
That's
and
nice.
She says, I can either take the day off. It's exercise. I can take the day off and take my daughter skating like she wants to do. It's fun for me also. Or she could sit at home and play on the Wii. And I'm like, no.
I just think roller skating is so fun, and it's good exercise, and there's music, not the best music, but there's music.
It's a mind fuck.
You know what? When I'm wealthy, that's number one on my list, is to have my own roller skating rink so I can play my own music.
Damn.
That's all I want.
I'm having still the open air feud with DJ D. DJ D, although we're Facebook friends now, and he's being like nice. He's still playing the shitty music, so I'm standing my ground.
I requested, I was like, please just play one like classic roller skating song, like Bee Gees, something that's like old school to be
Olivia
fun.
Newton-John.
Yes, Xanadu, something super fun. And they're like,
Xanadu.
We will absolutely never play that.
Yeah.
Did not. I'm like, oh man.
You know, I saw
But see, hold on. Right there, there's room. You've uncovered something. There's definitely room for retro night at the roller rink.
Well,
there's got to be a whole bunch of middle-aged people that
Thursday
will do
adult
that.
night. Although every other night it's the good DJ, and every other night it's the bad DJ. Guess what? I just found out the good DJ that has been bringing everybody back. He plays like 80s and freestyle and booty music, 90s bass, you know, and Debbie Deb and all that shit. Guess what his name is? The DJ that I've loved for years. He also Facebook friended me.
DJ Date Rape.
Jorge.
Close. George Rodriguez, but with a G.
That son of a
Yeah.
That is.
Isn't that wild and crazy? And I've been going there and enjoying
Connected
it.
by
And
the
spinning
cosmos.
for years. Yeah, he's a big fat Republican. Wouldn't you know it? He's Cuban. With the George Rodriguez of
makes
Cuban, and you know
perfect
about the
sense.
Cubans.
They
They're
do
just,
Yeah,
they're
those
so,
stinking
they're to the right of Attila the
smelly
Hun, as
oh,
Neil would
wait.
have. Oh yeah, that's them too. Not
You
my
taught
family.
me
Listen,
how to. What did you teach me how to make?
macrame.
We made. No, you didn't teach me,
Oh.
but you helped me with my Cuban coffee recipe.
yeah.
We made it here together, not here
I
at the old
I showed you
studio.
how to do the espuma,
Right,
which
right,
is the
right.
important.
Yeah, I
the
kind
sugar
of knew what I
foam.
was doing,
Yeah.
and you, yes,
sugar
you helped
foam,
me with
it's
that part.
all-
Very important. You need that crema
It
on top.
is. That sets it apart from the other espressos.
Mm-hmm.
Every espresso, in case you didn't know, has a particular gimmick that makes it this nation's espresso. And the Cuban coffee is the sugar foam on top.
Uh-huh.
And what's Cuban about that? One might ask. Cuba, sugar. We had all these mountains of sugar. Like, oh man, we've already sold out of sugar. I mean, the market is saturated with sugar. We got all this sugar. What to do with it?
Yeah, you gotta do something with it.
Put it in the coffee. Okay, we need more. Let's turn it into alcohol. Okay, rum. Still got a mountain of sugar there. What do we do now? Pastelitos. We need to open up. Think about it. There are Mexican restaurants all over the country, right? All over the world, Mexican restaurants. But how many times have you seen a Mexican bakery?
Never.
Right. But here in South Florida, you know that for every Cuban restaurant, there's a corresponding Cuban bakery
That's
within
right.
a block or in the same shopping center where there are all these Cuban baked goods, the pastries, the tres leches, the guava with cheese pastries, flan, right? Those little yellow cakes that are drenched in sugar syrup that you've seen this, all these things, because that was the thing. We've got all this sugar. You got to make something out of it. Better get to work, assholes. Bacon, then start inventing some shit.
I'm in the mood for Cuban food. What's
Yeah.
a good Cuban restaurant around here?
Las Vegas Cuban cuisine. You're going back north. You're proceeding back northwards.
Yeah, like Pompano Beach-ish.
Yeah, well, I think there's one up there also closer
Okay.
to Pompano.
They
but
have built one 500 feet from my house.
dude, they're the
Yeah,
best.
it's bad.
Really?
They started
Because I have my Miami locations, but for
Las Vegas. Broward is
Florida.
Las Vegas,
There's
spelled
one
like
on
the city.
Hollywood.
Okay.
And this is it's not it's a real Cuban immigrant story. They opened their first one on 441 right over here in between like Johnson and Taft and
It's
a little
still
strip
there.
shopping center, right? But they kept expanding it, and then they opened up other locations. The thing about Las Vegas food is from location to location, it's consistently good. And here's the thing that you don't hear people say about the food all the time. It's very clean. Like when you get the tostones, the fried bananas, the flat green ones, they're very bright and yellow. You know, the rice is very white. You know, the chicken fillet is just, everything looks really clean, like you want to take a picture of it.
Yeah, like
it
they
looks
didn't-
like
they
the picture
didn't
from the
throw the
menu.
fried stuff in
It's
the
not
dirty
like
old oil.
They clean that grease. They clean that, like the French fries. Even the French fries, it's like, wow, these are just uniformly like look like this. They don't have a blemish on them.
This
How
is
do they
a
do
ringing
that?
endorsement. I am going to check it out.
They're good. The only thing that they have that I don't recommend is their soup, and that's because it's just very non-eventful.
I never go to a Cuban restaurant for soup anyway.
Well,
So
sometimes you go to Cuban restaurants a lot. You wind up like, I am feeling a little hoarse today. I want some soup or something. But the Pollo
Do
Tropical
another
soup,
shot.
for example, the soup at Pollo Tropical is not just traditional Cuban soup, but it's like a porno example of it. They put all the
Like
stuff
a whole
you like
corn
in
on
there.
the cob
They
in
got
there.
the corn on the cob. They put yuca balls in there.
Yeah.
They put malanga. They put
Yeah, yeah.
all everything. They leave nothing out. The little sweet potatoes, slices of banana. It's really substantial. It's a meal in a soup. Speaking of Cuban food. Yeah, I'm making myself hungry for Cuban food.
Yeah, I'm kind of hungry
now that you mention it.
All right.
And stuff. Let's take a break then. And we don't have any food. I was going to bring Christmas cookies, but then I brought a stun gun instead.
Taser.
But we're going to take, we're down the new format, Joe. You're going to love it. One break per show, if I feel like it, just to take care of my
I think it's great because these third-party streaming services are putting breaks all over the top of us already. I just got a report from my listening spies, which is fine. If you're making money off the deal, then that's great.
Well, if you're watching the video Ustream, that's how you get it for free.
And
tune in. I'm not crazy about the fact that they do it, but nevertheless, I have an affiliate program.
But for those listening, all the great funny stuff that I'm saying happens to come under the commercials. Sorry.
And right, but when we upload the show, the audio and the video later, there won't be any commercial overlay. So there it is. We make it into all of these different products.
I'm gonna pee,
you
guys.
We're okay. Here on Lisa's going to pee, and we'll be right back on SoFloRadio.com.
No, down the hall. Need a key.
Best rated online radio station in the world. SoFloRadio.com.
When you're ready to actually lose weight safely and steadily while being monitored by a physician, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson is there for you. The family medicine practice was established by her father in 1956 and continues as a medical practice that now specializes in weight reduction. Dr. Kim Jacobson joined the practice 20 years ago as both a family medicine practitioner and weight loss specialist. The Weight Loss Clinic utilizes a combination of appetite suppression medication and vitamins to produce great results, usually 3 to 4 pounds per week for most patients. Now you can change your lifestyle while still enjoying your own food, just less of it. They offer a choice of 2, 3, or 4-week plans. So whether you just need to lose a few pounds or a lot, the Weight Loss Clinic of Dr. Kim Jacobson can help you. They're located at 5454 Northeast 4th Avenue in Miami, just 2 blocks west of 54th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. Call them at 305-751-0091. They'll be happy to answer any and all of your questions. That's 305-751-0091. Get started on a beautiful new body today with Dr. Kim Jacobson and the Weight Loss Clinic.
Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now, 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
Add a twist of yoga.
Yoga Twist with Julie.
A great way to integrate yoga, meditation, and lots of fun.
Promote family bonding. Help with flexibility and exercise.
Julie has been teaching kids for over 8 years in after-school programs, summer camps, and local studios.
Book a group, family, or one-on-one session now. Email me, yogatwistjulie@gmail.com.
Follow Yoga Twist Julie on Instagram and like Yoga Twist on Facebook for great family lifestyle tips and Yoga Twist events.
Bushwood.
As I jump inside the ocean so blue,
with their sophomore release, Tidal Wave.
We've waited all this time to get the real world off your mind. Yeah.
Get yours on iTunes. Listen on Spotify.
Determination.
South Florida's own Bushwood.
Close your eyes.
For samples and shows, go to bushwoodband.com.
So I'm on a Roixop kick. This is Roixop. You gotta download a whole bunch of Roixop stuff. This is You Don't Have a Clue featuring Anneli Drecker. And they're Swedish or Norwegian or something.
I was gonna say, I don't know any of these words you're saying.
Roixop. Roixop is this.
It sounds just like your all-time favorite Kate Bush, which is like...
No, well, that's different. This is different. This sounds like these Star Trek people. The thing is, it's two guys, and that was a female vocalist. So sometimes they do their own vocals. You've heard them before. Remember the Geico commercial?
Yes.
Where the caveman is on the conveyor belt at the airport. Thank you, Jack. Man, he's quick with that. Remember the Geico caveman commercial, and he's on the conveyor belt, and the ads. He's passing all these ads, and then the caveman passes the Geico ad, and so he starts walking backwards on the conveyor belt. Do you remember this little ditty in the Geico caveman commercial?
I do not remember any of this, but I do like their sound.
Anyway, this is Roixop they've been around for years. This is them singing. They're Swedish.
Cool.
And this is all I thought that they were, little synthy ditties, but they create these big symphonic things with themselves and with other people, and it's really great.
Wow, the Swedes.
So anyway,
taking over the world.
So Lisa,
IKEA.
Lisa, see these nuts?
I do see these nuts.
Right there. On the way to the bathroom, we were talking about Jan Oliver's nuts.
Look at those nuts.
And there they are, man. It's a big old...
They're glorious.
These are the best nuts I've ever seen.
Cashews, and
So
they're
smooth.
fancy. And talk about clean. I don't see a blemish
Not one.
on one of those nuts. And there's a story behind them.
Did you steal these?
No, I might wind up with them. I hope I can deliver them before Christmas, but I'm having trouble. I'm coming to the studio one day last week, and there's this lady out there, and I pass by her. I say hello, and I come in here, and a couple seconds later, there's a knock on the door, and I open it up, and there's a lady standing there with these nuts, and she says, "Excuse me." And I'm like, I was wondering if you can help me. I have these nuts.
Yeah,
and
help me deliver these nuts.
And right, and they're for Jan Oliver, but she's not there. And I said I was wondering if I could leave you Jan Oliver's nuts, and have you deliver them at some point when she is there. And so I took hold of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's not your job.
No, but I'm nice, and it's Christmas and
Sure.
whatever. And so now I'm like, man, I feel very responsible. And I've gone, I don't know, 2-3 times over there and knocked on the door, and Jan Oliver's never there.
We're just going to babysit these nuts?
Walking around the hall, cradling these nuts.
At some point, we're going to have to open this and just eat
At some point, we will, like after Christmas. Although on our way to the bathroom, I saw a gentleman walk out of that office. Now I'm doing the middle of a radio show right now. I don't have the time to go and deliver nuts.
Yeah, hey, I got nuts for you. To
Nuts
someone
delivery.
you don't even know.
That would be nuts.
Yeah.
Hey, these your nuts?
These nuts.
If you just tuned in, we're talking about testicles.
I'm just going to open the nuts.
Yeah.
And just ruin the whole thing for everybody.
No,
Start chowing the
it
nuts.
wasn't just nuts. It was a couple of calendars too. A couple
Don't
of
touch the nuts.
Are you going to do this
desk
shot or
calendars.
what, man? You're holding it forever.
I'm doing this shot. I've been holding
Camping on the shot. Let's do it.
Cheers.
Jack,
I'm
cheers.
not doing one this round, but I love you guys anyway. Cheers.
Preposterous.
Wow.
Ah,
That
down
is
the
all.
hatch.
Note to self, Jack. We need shot taking music
Yeah, we do.
in the background the next time we do that.
Sure.
I like it.
Maybe that shot song.
Friday Cocktails continues.
Yeah.
Except this is a shot.
Something that I miss on the Joe Castello show. the Friday cocktails.
Those were the days. The early days. How's Boca Brit? Good?
Boca Brit is good.
Out there?
I was
What's up,
thinking
Boca?
about. I haven't contacted Boca lately. We did a Neil tribute show last month,
I wanted to be here for
Right.
that. I wanted to
Birthday?
participate. I was out of town
and I was going to do a
far.
holiday show. Except
This is it.
Well, this is it. Except I didn't bring any of the holiday hats. I had some hats set out,
including one
that moves around and plays music. I was going to bring holiday hats and have a holiday party. I did wear a red shirt. And
I think there needs to be some sort of Neil tribute event, public event, gathering, bar.
Right. Well, I think here's the thing that I came to, which is why I scheduled that around his birthday. We could have done a Christmas show because he died on Christmas Eve or right around that time. But I would rather have a tribute show that's celebratory on the day of his birthday, as opposed to a little bit of a darker one on the day of his death day. Mm-hmm. So that's the choice that I made. So first week of November, whatever show that I do, first week of November is going to be the Neil Remembrance show or a Neil show or a Neil Flashback show or something like that. I'm going to try to do that on a yearly basis.
There you go.
And the Christmas show this day, I wasn't really going to do one, but guess what happened?
What happened?
Lisa Corrao happened.
Oh, wow.
Lisa Corrao contacted me. This is absolutely, I pulled a show out of my ass. Just for you.
Yeah, I just randomly texted you like, hey, buddy, miss you, kind of a thing.
Right, and we just started talking about shows. And
now, how are you two connected? And where's Mitch? What happened to that?
With a fleshy cord that our clothes strategically hides.
Because I know you know Mitch from the Jerk Show time, and I don't know how, but I think it has to do with comedy scene.
Gosh.
We woke up in a Tijuana jail cell, and both of us with no idea how we got there.
It was an Ambien thing.
It was an Ambien. Well, me, it was just alcohol, unless they slipped me an Ambien. and she was noticing my kidney scar from where I had obviously just had a kidney removed.
It happened.
Oh wait, no, you know what it was? It was the Idaho Jew.
Do you know Idaho? Idaho Jew?
He came and saw me, I think, at the Improv and was like, hey, there's this radio show.
I knew that there was some reason
that was the connection to you.
Yeah. Do you know how he got nicknamed the Idaho Jew?
No.
Himself. He named himself.
No, I was
me.
Say,
was
I
it
don't
you?
think there's a huge story.
I unfriended him on Facebook.
Yes. No, why? The pirate stuff?
Well, no,
Does he
his
creepily hit on you too?
You unfriended somebody?
I've
only unfriended one person in the world. That's the worst thing you can do to anybody.
Besides Vietnamese prostitutes, I unfriend lots of people.
Wow.
Do you get hit on by the Asian women?
Yes. Well, not hit on. They just try to friend me, and you don't know anybody I know.
You don't want, your queen already got to me. There's nothing left for you. All right, the queen of all blood-sucking whores has already done her damage. There's nothing. There's no scrap of marrow.
So what? Idaho Jew is bad now. What's up?
Well, he's bad. What he did was he had a feud with Luis from the Powwow. And he went on this other radio show and started trashing Luis and the Powwow.
No.
And
I already, this.
I thought a lot of things about him. I didn't particularly like him. I didn't believe that he belonged on the air. I thought he was very obnoxious and unfunny. He's bothers me. He annoys me.
He could be listening.
He could be very
right
annoying.
now.
He probably is. I don't care. I've never had a different opinion. On the air, or to his face. I just, nice. My opinion was
him and Louis from the Powwow were great friends for a while.
Sure, he was a regular on his show. He was on the Powwow, destroying that show all the time. But that was my thing. It's like, you don't belong in the air. Nice guy, but you don't belong in the air. But apparently not so nice guy. So he hooks up with these other internet broadcasting podcaster wannabes guys, another group of fakers on there, and he gets on there and he starts trashing the Powwow. And he starts trashing Lewis.
And
Lewis, and then he did some other stuff off the air, like with some Comic-Con, and like torpedoed him or sandbagged him. And I don't know the whole story.
Wow.
I didn't bother. When Lewis is telling me the story, my brain went, all right, I don't need to commit these memories to detail. I just need to move this guy into
really,
the douchebag
the whole subculture idea that there's some backstabbing, backbiting surrounding SoFlo radio offshoots, like, that's cool.
Yeah,
that means you're doing something right.
It would be cooler. It would be cooler if there was some significance. But there's always been. I don't have to tell you. There has always been.
No, you got
drama. I don't know where there isn't.
You got a guy in jail now.
In the stand-up comic, Byron. Oh, we talked about Byron.
You got a guy in jail.
Oh, snap.
Fuck you piece of shit, Byron Eggers.
I saw that coming from a mile away, folks.
Yeah, scumbag.
The tentacles of SoFlo Radio really go.
A liar, a thief, and now pedophile. I knew about a liar and a thief.
What?
He's a scumbag. He's a piece of shit. All of them. That whole family, man. What a family, man. Yeah. Sorry, I have a nose itch.
Grossness.
Well, you just had an insect land on there.
So the Idaho Jew, and I didn't know any of this backstory, but he comes to the Improv a lot and sees me there, and he told me about George, and that's how I started talking to George and started doing your show, and then we became friends.
In those days, and here's the thing, because this is...
It's wonderful.
This is something that you've seen. Really you've seen this play out a lot of times. People have approached us, and it was the same thing in radio. People approach you in radio wanting to be on the air, and so we started this internet broadcasting enterprise, and that phenomenon occurred itself. A lot of people approached me and us wanting to do sales or promotions or this and that, but really all they wanted to do was work their way onto a radio show. They just wanted to be on the air, which, and no offense to any of these people, we understand, the people that also have the disease, that we have to be on the air. Yeah. We need to be on a stage. We need to be in front of people. Hey, look at me, give me some attention. I understand the disease, and so I certainly don't fault these people for having that desire. But tell me up front, come to this enterprise and tell me, I'm a big fat ham and I want to be on the air. And I'll go, I'm a big greasy slab myself, man. I'll totally relate to that, and I'll be upfront and honest with you about what you can do to be on the air and all this stuff. But too many times these people have come up, I want to be a salesman, I want to do promotions, I want to help you out, I want to help book guests on your show. Okay, next thing you know, they're sitting there for every show.
Well, this is definitely much more fun than that.
What the fuck?
But come on, this is the one job. This is it. Every other job is a secondary job, a fallback
Every other job is turning a crank. It all amounts to turning a crank that makes money mostly for someone else, not yourself. You're turning a crank. You go into the office and the crank looks differently. Sometimes you're just...
And this job is actually turning a crank. This is what makes the money too, the on-air production.
It is, but no, the crank part here is the production, the posting, the producing the commercials, the programming, the computer, the automation system. That's all the work part. This is the fun part. In stage terms, you've got to build the stage and the curtains and the lights and everything. But then when it's showtime is fun.
Showtime is fun. I think it's really funny when people approach me to do like a private gig, and sometimes you'll quote the price, and I put a high price for private gigs.
You ought to.
I put a high price. You know why? Because I don't want to do them, and I'm like, if you're going to pay a lot of money, I'll do it.
Would you charge more
10 grand
for or less for sex?
Good question.
It depends.
Who the person is.
Exactly.
What do I have to do?
Yeah. So no, but some once in a while, if people hear that number and they think it's too high, they're like, well, it's this much money per hour that you're making with that price, and I'm like, no, that's not what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Hours and hours of writing.
Yeah, you're paying for the talent and whatever,
Yeah.
It's so insulting. I hate doing private gigs generally. Sometimes they surprise you, but it's mostly people who are not a good audience, and it just makes you feel terrible. It's in someone's backyard or something else horrible that you don't want. I did a birthday party recently that in someone's living room.
For adults?
For adults, but she was like, oh yeah, you can be dirty, my kids are going to be in bed, and sure enough her kids were sitting right up front. I'm not even a dirty comedian, but I was going to talk about some adult-ish things.
Sure.
So it was just weird. There's little kids and a dog staring at you, and I'm like, this comedy's not for dogs. But
it's uncomfortable just hearing it.
But hey, they were paying, so that's what
I know. It's we all fall into that. Joe, I see your post. WFO is going strong. Speaking of show business, and it's not degrading. You don't have to degrade yourself and do birthday parties.
I do my equivalent of birthday parties. There are things that I do.
What's the auto racing world equivalent of a kiddie birthday party?
World equivalent of I host seminars. I go to a booth at a trade show and interview someone who has a new part that they want to talk about. Ooh. And I, on video for a third party, I went to Las Vegas last year. I got flown to Vegas. And
Did you go to that big car show out there?
Well, the SEMA is Specialty Equipment Manufacturer Association. It's where all the auto industry folks gather. And I got a gig last year where I was running around from booth to booth, with a videographer doing pre-scheduled interviews about their product. Like, hey, this is a new product for a Honda. Tell me about it. Wow, that's super cool. Honda Civic. This is going to gain a lot of traction with the Civic owners out there. Oh, yes. Why? And but for me, it got me to Vegas. It got me paid. And most importantly for me, comfort working on camera. Little, reps, seat time working on camera where some real money potentially was most important. So that was the version of that, work jobs that I have to do to make a little money and advance the ball.
Yeah, there you go. You gotta do it.
It is what it is.
I did a
like
couple
doing
of
the toy
last week.
Doing the toy for $4 million or Superman 4. Sometimes
bringing it back around.
Even when you're Richard Pryor, you gotta do what you gotta do to pay the bills.
I guess when he had $100 a day cocaine
to get the coke, right? It's like, some of my fans are not gonna appreciate this.
Oh well,
but it's gonna get me to a place where I can buy the coke.
Yeah. But the rest of your job is you just get to be at auto races and you get to be there in the pits.
I've got 3 things going right now, like a 3-legged stool of work. One is WFOradio.com, which is a motorsports. I'm embracing the word podcast.
Okay.
I'm embracing it. I'm embracing it because it's kind of coming around. It's
coming over.
All right.
It's becoming a hit podcast. And I did that when our great friend Eric died because I couldn't do all this streaming stuff. Too many moving parts.
Right.
Pre-record all these different times, podcast, post it. Okay. I got one email. Is the show not live anymore?
This show?
Well, to me.
Oh.
And I was like, no, it's not. Now it's a podcast. They're like, okay.
Okay.
Other than that, nobody. So I've got that. I've got my NHRA announcing gig where I go to approximately 15 national events around the country and sit on the microphone and call the races. This guy in the right lane, this guy in the left lane. They're racing right now. This guy won. Wow, wasn't that exciting? And then I'm doing a little television gig for Velocity Network where we go around the country to car shows. And I do basically that same bit. We're here with George Rodriguez. He's got a great 66 Chevrolet Nova. George, when did you get this Nova? Wow, that's a beautiful Nova. What did you do to it? What kind of parts are on this Nova? That is great. Let's go over to this next thing. And those 3 things are kind of feeding upon themselves. People see me on the TV show. They hear me at the race. They've got a business. They know I do a podcast. They want to advertise on the podcast. And
great.
It's like a symbiotic relationship.
Can you get me a good deal on a case of Bestline engine oil additive?
Best line.
I can get. I've been watching some videos.
I was just thinking the same thing, George.
That is an engine oil additive that me in the racing industry, motorsports, have never heard of.
Really?
So I wouldn't recommend it because I know people that do the real stuff.
Watch the
infomercial that's designed to make you think whatever you think.
Sure. Well, because I'm watching just different YouTube videos and things, so they have the informative infomercial to be sure. But they have this guy, this greasy mechanic guy that does this test with the friction machine, showing all these different oil additives.
Yes,
and he saves Bestline for last because you got to see
pulls the thing down and it doesn't stop the wheel.
Stop the wheel.
It's
and
amazing.
You get a little weight thing there. It's an independent guy.
You of all people should recognize.
I got a little bit of valve
trick.
lifter noise on my car there.
I'm falling for it even just hearing you talk about it.
And
I bet you the non-premium brand like molecular. Got all red and like sparkles.
Smoke coming off.
Tell you what, get back to me. Go ask some people about Bestline. They did a test over here on Alligator Alley. They drained all the oil and all the coolant out and just put a little bit of Bestline in the engine.
Of course, and it made it. It lasted
all the way across Alligator Alley. Yeah,
wow. Without a doubt, there's all kinds of products out there. But the ones that I see these guys use in the 10,000 horsepower nitromethane top fuel dragsters and funny cars that we see race, I can't think of a more extreme environment than that. Is Redline Oil, who also happens to be a WFO radio sponsor.
A Redline Oil. So can you give me a?
Well, if you really want that, for what? Do you still drive the Mitsubishi?
I do still drive that.
Really?
I actually. You're going to laugh.
Do you still hear the sound of Dead Americans when you drive it?
and crying children. These days, I got one that's 1 year newer.
Rebooted.
You are a loyal Mitsubishi customer.
I love that particular style because it's very ergonomic. Like it fits me. You understand that the elbow rests are absolutely even with each other.
Definitely a reason to be loyal to a manufacturer.
The armrest on the car door and the armrest on the seat divider are the exact height. So and forwards and backwards. So
listeners, you don't know this, but George has giant elbows. They're very heavy.
They're huge, but also they're not. Oh, skating, I fell. Anyway, and the acceleration and the braking and the handling of these things is just very smooth, and the front is short, so you can park. I really like.
Hey, there's an ass for every seat. The nice Mitsubishi has got their people,
and I transferred it over. Right. But the new car it's much nicer and perfect. It's got a little bit of some valve noise there, and I'm wondering if it's a thrown valve or now that's a thrown rod. I'm wondering the tequila's having.
We don't have to.
We don't throw rods.
The XO Cafe.
But the lifter valves, it's a little bit of a clicking there, and I'm just wondering if an additive will take care of it, or do I need to have something replaced?
I don't know.
Yeah, so I know you don't know because you're not hearing it or anything like that. But Redline A, is it an oil or an oil additive?
Both.
It's both.
Yes, it's what we would call a very boutique, high-end oil everything.
Well, you be sure
motor oil, gear oil, transmission fluid, they do it all.
Clip this portion of the George Rodriguez Show and send it to your fine sponsors to show your
To
loyalty.
get you some,
to show your loyalty. Say, look, I was on this guy's show.
I'm extremely loyal
and
to all of my
he was trying to
sponsors.
talk up this best line shit that I didn't hear anything about, and I
totally
turned right around the red line.
It's all about.
Speaking of being loyal to sponsors, I don't suppose you came to the car show at Festival Flea Market last weekend.
No, I did not.
Great.
I was unaware that there was a car show at the festival.
Hey, George, mark that.
Where I bought my slot machines, my Japanese pachinko slot machines in a booth there.
Oh, yes. How fun is that? Pachinko, amazing. They do a great car show twice a year. We just had the holiday one, and in a few months we'll do another one. I'll let you know.
Please do. It is very unfortunate that I missed
an episode of your show from there.
I definitely
huge
could.
Event.
Where is it? We could do shows from there.
Festival Flea Market, Sample Road at the Turnpike.
And to tie it all together, George knows that this being involved in auto racing started out as a hobby. And that's kind of how I talked my way on the air. It was when Jeff Gordon
Joe actually
retired.
raced. Joe actually had two cars.
Back in the day, raced, but put that on the shelf to pursue my career because I noticed everybody who was racing were professionals and businessmen, and they had money to burn, literally, at the racetrack. And I thought, well, this is great that I'm doing this and all, but I don't have a real career that is going to make me enough money that I can burn it. And so I really started focusing on the career, and it ended up involving me in racing as a profession. But I still do have one of my race cars, and this weekend is a big reunion race for, I don't know if you ever remember Sportatorium out at
I saw my first concert there. I saw races
West,
there.
Pembroke Pines.
Yeah,
there was a drag strip there too.
The old Sporto.
Miami Hollywood Speedway. There is a reunion race up at West Palm Beach, Moroso Motorsports Park, where you went once and got rained out, unfortunately.
Yes.
And we're actually going to race tomorrow night for the first time. I'm going to be racing for the first time in
by we, you
ages.
mean you.
Me and my father. And we're going to meet some friends.
That's awesome.
Your NASCAR stock car or your dragster?
Drag racing.
Dragster.
Straight line acceleration racing. It's not 3 hours. It's a short race. It's a quarter mile or an eighth mile in some circumstances.
Is it still red?
It's pearl white and candy apple red.
Can I see a picture of it, please?
I might have one, yes.
Of course you do.
Yeah,
I might have one.
You better have one.
But I've been working my butt off really, really hard to get this car going, and it is just like a boat. If anyone who has had a boat, if you don't use a boat, it will fall into disrepair rapidly.
Okay,
a lot of maintenance.
Yeah,
a lot of maintenance. Same deal.
I defended Joe was in a. I don't know if you remember this conversation. We were. I walked into the middle of an argument between Joe and the other QAM people, sports nerds. They don't consider racing a sport, and so Joe was arguing that racing is a sport, and the sports dorks at the QAM were saying that it wasn't. And I walked in, and they said George is an independent party. He doesn't care about any of it. So, George, auto racing, is it a sport or not? And I said, to my mind, if you're participating in it, it's whatever you want to call it. And if you're watching it, you're a fag.
So well,
this car is beautiful.
Well, thank you very much. And the idea that
like
and you were at the car show.
Race cars get you hot?
I mean,
I'm hoping.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, I don't want to have sex with that car, but if you own that car,
I like
it would make you hotter.
Well, I don't know if I get aroused, but I like his car.
If you did get aroused, it would be weird.
Yeah,
it would be weird. That's weird. I once went to a motorcycle show with a friend of a friend.
Had a boner.
Our great friend Ant. He brought a girl to this motorcycle show, and she was getting hot. It was messed up. Like
you want to rub on the car?
Yeah, on these motorcycles. Like
just like give me that
saying
tailpipe.
things that were just like really this really, and sure enough, some people do. Look, we are a car culture. The highways, everything that happened. We are a car culture. Cars are awesome. They give us our freedom. Of course, you can sit in a darkened room and go anywhere around the world on your device. But the reality is, you get out there on the open highway.
Wings. It's your horse.
It really is. It's your horse.
It's your part. Right. Yeah.
And they're all different styles. And as much as I like to mock your little Mitsubishi because they built planes during World War II,
I understand.
Thousands and thousands of Americans.
They feel bad about that.
Yes, I still appreciate the fact that it connects with your character, and you like it for your reasons, and that's great. What does Lisa drive?
If I could afford a Cadillac, I would drive a Cadillac.
Yes. Oh, well, that's.
I was looking at Escalade hybrids there for a while. Why Escalade hybrid? Because I want a big giant Escalade, but I don't want the hippies shooting me dirty looks. So I'm like, hybrid,
and that's
hybrid,
why they built those hybrids.
Shut up! There it is.
Let's make the biggest vehicles the hybrid ones.
What does Lisa drive? I really like Mustangs.
Okay,
unfortunately,
the new one is awesome.
Yes. Unfortunately, the car that I'm driving now was given to me, and it runs, and that's what it's good for. It's a Chevy Equinox 2005. It's got 190,000 miles on it, and it has spiders.
Ooh, have infested the Equinox,
and I can't get rid of the spiders because they're eating the ants. So
see, that's an ecosystem.
That's an ecosystem.
I think that Equinox actually means spider hive in some language.
There's a lot of spiders inside and out.
Equinoxy.
There's webs all over. It looks haunted.
So, Lisa, I know you wanted to stay till 2:30, so we're gonna lead into the break a little bit, so that we have time to take some pictures or a picture for the post afterwards.
Okay.
So tonight, sunrise at Gigi's.
Yes.
Or something like that, and it might not be a long set, and if not
but
tonight,
tomorrow, American Rock Bar.
Tomorrow, this is Friday. Tomorrow is Saturday. Where's American Rock Bar at?
That's up in Palm Beach-ish area. I gotta Google it myself.
American Rock Bar. And this other thing that's on the 23rd,
23rd, Wynwood. I'm going to be hosting that, and I think they're doing it like a contest. That's why they're calling it a comedy festival. There's going to be a ton of comedians from around South Florida, I guess, competing for I think there's a money prize. So
is Larry Dog going to be in it?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I haven't seen him in years and years. Like,
I see him on Facebook.
Started comedy.
Well, he was in here.
He was here.
I have a Larry Dog story that I'm sitting on for 100 years, waiting for the day.
No way.
The Larry Dog story. The day I heard.
We need to talk about this.
Sorry to step on the plug, but
I do not care.
He might have saved my life.
Really?
Maybe.
Oh my God.
Well, you're going to tell us the story?
Yeah, eventually, but after the plug and after the break.
Yeah. I don't care. Whatever.
Tell us the story.
Okay, well, here's the deal. I didn't know Larry Dog was anything until, one day I heard George, because I do log on and listen to the show on a semi-regular basis whenever I can, and I heard Larry Dog on the show. I was like, what, Larry Dog? Unbelievable. So one night at QAM, I'm going to work, and it was just a bad day. You have those, Everything is going terribly. I went to McDonald's to get some food. They were closed. I went to the studio. Mark Eisenberg, my former coworker, who is still a friend, had booked a guest that I did not approve of, wasn't consulted with, and didn't think it was cool. In-studio guest. And I was starving and in a bad mood, like hangry. So I said, you know what? Vladdy, our great friend Vladimir, do you remember Vlad?
Of course I do. Best dancer.
Who works at NBC Sports Radio. I said, Vlad, let's go get some food. And he's like, all right, let's go. And I was like, we'll call in. We'll make it a radio adventure. Mark can do his sports nerd thing with his unapproved booked guest, which I was just being kind of a dick. No. Looking back. But anyway, so we're going to go get some food. Not sure where. So we head out. We stop at a gas station. We're trying to decide where we're going to go. Where are we going to go? Where do you go at 2:30 a.m. in North Miami?
I'd find the nearest Denny's.
No, you go to Wayne Arnold's Royal Castle.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Is where you go.
Yep. Okay.
You go to Wayne Arnold's Royal Castle. Except the only problem is Wayne Arnold's Royal... Former Neil sponsor, speaking of sponsor loyalty, Wayne Arnold's Royal Castle is in the...
It's in the hood.
Yeah. It's in the hood. So we stop at a gas station. We're sitting in Vlad's car, which is known as the placenta because of all the human seed that was spilled in the back seats. It's a different story. But anyway, so we're sitting at the gas pumps, and all of a sudden this kind of really hot girl is wearing pajamas, like PJs. This is right next to Tootsie's. Starts walking our way. Here she's coming right. She's coming right at us. No, she's coming right at us. She walks right to us. and pokes her head in the car and says, "Do you guys have any weed?" And we look at each other and we're like, "Yes."
Right.
Like,
yeah,
oh no, it was a cop, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. She was a stripper from Tootsie's who had just gotten off. She saw us. She said, "Those guys look cool, like they have weed." And she walked over, and we said, "Look, we're really hungry. We're going to Wayne Arnold's Royal Castle. Do you want to come with us?" She goes, "Sure. Let me lock my car." Locked her car, hops in with us. Now we're going to Wayne Arnold's. No problem.
So totally I'm sucked into this story.
It's really one of the better stories that I have.
I'm picturing pajamas like a fuzzy onesie with big bunny slippers.
Yes, the fuzzy bottom pants with a little like tank top.
Oh,
sitting in the placenta
colors
seat.
and colors like pajamas. So now we go to Wayne Arnold's, and this is a great idea. And we're calling in. Hey, Mark, we've got a new person. This is so-and-so. She works at Tootsie's, and she went on the air. And it was a great radio adventure. So everything's going great. We go to Wayne Arnold's. We're going in. Here we go. We're going to get the food. And super stoked. Get the Neely burgers. Open the door. And the record needle just drags off the record. And the heads of 40 to 60 very hood, gully brothers turn and stare at us, and it just stops. We're like, oh damn, big mistake. But we got to keep on going. We can't walk out of here, so we go and we try to get in line. But we were profiled. They were not going to serve us because we were not approved for whatever reason.
Yeah, you look like a cop.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. I'm going to get hamburgers. I can have a burger even if I am a cop.
He's here to bust us.
They just didn't want to help us.
Hide your weed.
So someone in the crowd decided to engage with us.
Okay.
Larry.
Like, let me talk to these white people and see what's going on. It was Larry Dog.
How about that?
And so I was like, "What you guys doing here?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're here from the radio station. We're going to get the Neely burgers. Neil Rogers."
He heard radio, and he was like,
and it's exactly right. He was like, "What?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're on the air right now. We're doing a thing."
You're in showbiz.
And he explained to the whole place what the story was. We went from, this happens in a million movies, from being the people who were almost dead to the people that were celebrated as like cool people. It
does happen in the
movies. On
movies.
the inside.
Sure.
We got the burgers. We cut people in the line.
Right.
We got the burgers. We got the Neely burgers. We went back to the studio. We were heroes. It was great.
I had the Captain Cook in Tahiti.
Sounds like a scene from
So I want to know,
but he did a magic trick.
So in communicating with Larry Dog when he was on the air, I wanted to know if he remembered this at all and his perspective of the white people. Well,
funny.
two white people.
Of course
Vlad just kind of hangs with the white
people.
people.
Well, we are going to have to arrange a surprise show.
So we ate the Neely burgers.
Yeah.
We puffed. We went back to the studio. Yeah. We dropped off our little girlfriend and then never saw her ever again. That was
it. Did she get her weed?
Well,
okay.
Yeah, she shared. She indulged.
The whole time.
Okay.
The whole time. And went back on the air and went in and did the rest of the show and got out of there before Mo Howard David showed up.
That's a great story. That's great for leading into the break. We're going to do some photo sessions. And thank you, Lisa, for
thanks for having me, guys.
Brightening our studio as usual.
Thanks for the stun gun.
I will concoct a show whenever you're in town.
Aww.
Yeah. And you're welcome. And I really listen. If and when you do use that, you got to call me.
Oh, I'll let you know
tell me about it. Just call me up. I used it on somebody. It was great. They danced. Like
I'm gonna have an itchy trigger finger with this.
Thank you so much on All Itchy Radio, SoFloRadio.com.
Best ads for the best rates. SoFloRadio.com.
Strawberry patch and smoothie.
Get your hands off me!
Huh?
I said don't touch me!
I shouldn't have went to that party last night. Now I'm seeing talking fruit.
You're not dreaming, Bubba, and you're not putting me in that blender.
But you're just a fruit.
Who you calling a fruit?
You are. You're a delicious passion fruit.
Why, sure I'm passionate. How would you like to be blended, huh? I got right, you know.
Customers waiting. You gotta go.
Yeah, but wait, you can...
At Power Smoothie in Aventura, we show fruit no mercy. Always fresh, always delicious. To make the best smoothies and wraps on earth, try our new cilantro lime-alicious wrap or our hot chipotle chicken. Power Smoothie in Aventura, located just north of the Aventura Mall in the Promenade Shops. Or call 305-792-5338. Open 7 days a week.
Pizza Loft. If you wanna go Italian and see Jeff Cohen's ponytail, you'll have great Italian food that's made by a Jew who has lovely painted nails.
Hey, Donnie, how long we been on this deserted island?
A long time, Lonnie. So long I'm starting to fantasize about food.
Yeah, food from the pizza lot.
I sure could go for one of their gourmet pizzas right about now.
Or lasagna bubbling with cheese and oozing with tomato sauce.
Stop it. You're making me think of their great manicotti and sensational Italian sandwiches.
Yeah, but there's nothing to eat here unless you want to gnaw on this old lamp that washed up on shore.
Speak to me, guys. What can I do for you?
Hey, look, Donnie, a genie.
I'm no genie. I'm Jeff Cohen from the Pizza Loft.
Wow, Lonnie, all our dreams are coming true.
Okay. How about some great homemade pasta or calzones and lots of that homemade Italian garlic bread?
Pizza Loft does catering, Lonnie. They can cater this whole island.
Hey, wait a minute, Donnie. We only get 3 wishes, don't we?
Oh, no. At Pizza Loft, your every wish is my command.
Then how about $1 million? A dozen babes. A way to get us off this stinking island.
Sorry, guys. I only do Italian.
For lunch, for dinner, for office or home catering, step up to flavor. Step up to Pizza Loft.
It's only been a week. The rush of being home and rapid fading, failing to recall what I was missing all that time in England. It sent me aimlessly on foot or by the help of transportation to knock on windows where my friend no longer live. I had forgotten. And everywhere I go, there's always something to remind me of another place and time, where love that traveled far and found me. We stayed outside till 2, waiting for the light to come back. We didn't talk, I knew, until you asked what I was thinking. Until you asked what I was thinking.
1227, the George Rodriguez Show with Joe Castello, which is, that goes way back. I said that on my very first filling in for Neil show. Welcome to the George Rodriguez Show with Joe Castello, who, for the audience members that don't know, and I don't know who that would be, Joe was the first producer the first time that I filled in with Neil. So Joe got to watch me sweat bullets and basically almost shit myself for the whole.
You were fine.
And I was digging a pen in my face. I still have that video. I was digging a pen in my face the whole time.
You were fine.
White-knuckled. How the World Turns, Joe.
South Florida radio pioneer. Many of the subject matters that are now commonplace were once taboo, and you went there.
Right. We did. We got lectured for having the dance-safe people on.
Yes.
We got lectured for... I got lectured for having Queen Esther on when we were talking about Middle East.
Oh, my gosh. That was dangerous.
And I wasn't even...
You risked your life.
At the time, which, by the way, how informative was that? I had
very informative.
And a real Israeli on, an Israeli-born Jewess, granddaughter of a Holocaust survivor, on the air speaking about her feelings about Middle East peace, and people were calling up making death threats against her, and the Anti-Defamation League was trying to get me fired because I had her on. And I, at the time, wasn't even expressing an opinion because I felt very disqualified to have one.
I was unaware of that. That was the first time I ever heard that there were Israelis that were politically neutral towards the Palestinians.
Well,
some Palestinians. That there was a whole
well, they have a right wing and a left wing.
Yeah, for me,
and Israel's left wing is very much like our our left wing. They're very anti-war and they're anti-occupation, and that's not like they're anti-Israeli, but they just believe that that Israel should be pursuing a different policy with regards to the Palestinians and the occupied territories. It was very informative. But enough about that, because that's one of the things that I stopped giving fucks about. I was going to ask you. I was going to ask Lisa or anybody this morning.
Wonderful girl, by the way.
She's
just fantastic. I'm so happy I got to
Where's more? That's the kind of person henceforth that I will consider making some room in my life for, is a person of quality like that. Needs to be a nice person, needs to have a sense of humor. If they roller skate, that would be helpful. Spending so much time at the rink. She does. I know. I got her a skate case for Christmas last year.
Well, let me know next time you go skating. You know, the Galaxy is minutes from my home, and I'm looking for an exercise.
As a matter of fact, I'm trying to organize it. Probably won't, because now that the holidays are coming up, like I'm there every weekend afternoon.
Yes.
But I'm trying to get a group of not regular skaters to go on the Thursday when DJ George is there.
That sounds neat. Let me know.
Like that's the night that we used to go on, and I'll count you in on that.
Awesome.
I'm better than I used to be. I know you're going to say how so.
I'm a borderline invalid and can barely make it around, but I don't care.
Well, see, here's the thing, that because skating is one of the things that changed my life for the better. So I'm in a very similar fashion. You know how everybody gets very excited. The yoga people that have gone from poor health to good health through yoga, for example.
Of course,
they become very missionary, if you will. They proselytize about the benefits of yoga to everyone, and that's how I am about roller skating. And here's the point that I try to make to the people: until you allow yourself to, the more you skate and just put the skates on and roll around, just allow yourself to roll around and allow yourself to get to the point where you're no longer uncomfortable, because it isn't until then that it feels good. And by good, I mean the feeling that you get when you hear a song that generates that feeling inside of you, like that song that you really like, or drugs or alcohols, like whatever it is that makes you feel good inside, that feeling of exhilaration. For a racer, for someone that races, that enjoys speed, that thing that releases endorphins in your head, when you get to the point where you're no longer feeling like, because there's no way that you can enjoy yourself when you're feeling uncomfortable, when you feel like you're going to fall, when you're concentrating on keeping your balance because you're afraid of the fall. When you get to the point where you're just cruising because you're comfortable and you're not afraid of falling anymore, that's when it becomes euphoric. That's when the endorphins start to flow. And that's when you can just stay out on the floor for song after song after song. And before you know it, you've burned all these calories. You've got all this euphoria, and you don't feel like you went to the gym and had to force yourself. I hate the gym. I've gone twice. I've joined the gym 3 times and gone twice. That's a joke. That's
I'm a
true.
member.
That's a true story.
Yeah, you fit.
That's a true story.
Brutal.
But it's something. In my case, I had to talk myself into going. The laziness didn't kick in when I got to the gym. I could do a lot once I got there, but I couldn't talk myself into getting up off my ass and going. But I don't have to talk myself into going skating. That's
listen, for me,
it's a hangout.
One night of exercise that's within 2 miles from my home sounds good.
Okay,
so I'm down.
Well, it's great. I really think that people should give it a shot. I'm trying to get Jak on wheels. Meanwhile,
brothers don't like to be on wheels.
That's not true. That is.
I'm kidding. No, I know. There's a whole brother night. They got a whole thing.
There's hip hop night on Saturday night, but there isn't a night that I'm there. As a matter of fact, that's another reason that I appreciate the rink. I'm making friends with Muslims. Speaking of Muslims, and I'm making friends, and I've always, because we talked about it. You know, I grew up in the Redlands, so I had black friends that were schoolmates, and we played at each other's places. And one of my best friends from elementary school is Al Tukes, one of the funniest human beings, funny in elementary school, funny guy. So I grew up, but you know, since I went to Montana and came back, you know, that kind of resets your social life. So I didn't have friends when I came back to town. I didn't have friends unless I met them in radio or something. But I've made lots of friends of color and of different kinds, including a lot of Middle Eastern people at the roller rink. The roller rink is a very all-inclusive place, and the brothers can skate. The brothers can tear it up.
Well, it's athletic.
Yeah, but nevertheless, it's hockey. Explain, you know, hockey.
Brothers could play hockey if they chose to. They just
there's one for some reason they don't. Jak, want to throw in?
That's a misnomer
on the hockey thing. Anything?
It's a misnomer.
It's a what?
It's a misnomer. That's not true.
But they're not in there. I know there's like one professional black. There's one professional black. There's one professional, 2 professional black hockey players out there.
I think it's just regional. I think it's just...
there's black people that live in Chicago. There's black people that live in Canada. I just don't see them playing hockey. Sorry. I lived in places where everybody played hockey. The black people didn't play hockey.
Okay, name a skating rink, a nearby ice rink.
Well, no, we played outside.
I'm sure it's some sort of socio-economic
Sunrise.
thing.
You know what? That's a good thing.
Very expensive.
They have ice rinks here. Let's go to the ice rink and see if there are brothers there in the same concentration that there is at the roller rink.
Look,
at the roller rink, it's about 50-50.
All you need is some skates for the roller rink.
Right.
For hockey, you need pads, you need skates, you need all that other stuff.
Is that it? So it's
basketball, soccer, you just need a ball.
Socio-economic.
Basketball, you need a ball.
Okay.
That's it. And it doesn't even have to be your ball. You just go there and someone's got a ball.
Speaking of the Muslims, let's lead into this. At the roller rink, my daughter, I taught her previously when we were sitting next to a table full of Muslims because she's very interested in languages and cultures and everything. And I taught her to say, Assalamu alaikum.
Malaikum salam.
And she skated up to me the other day and she goes, Daddy, there's Muslims here. And I said, Assalamu alaikum to them. And I said, very good, honey. Thank you. And that's what I'm doing because we're getting ahead of the conversation. The Trump thing, you mentioned the Trump thing during the break and the horrible, it's horrible. I'm embarrassed at some of you people. I'm embarrassed at some of the shit that you're posting. I'm embarrassed at the following that he has. We all thought it was a joke.
I never did.
The joke's been going on too long. You know that if somebody ran for president right now, and their campaign slogan was "I hate minorities" and "minorities suck," they're gonna get a following, and the people that follow that are scumbag bigots, and I don't want to be associated with you.
Well, don't you think in a way it was kind of necessary to have a person like Trump to expose these people who've been closeted?
We already fought a war against the bigots. The bigots lost. Are we really going to have to do it all over again?
Yes.
Are we going to have another civil war
Pretty much.
over again and remind them that they are the ultimate minority?
Unless they win, which they seem to have a lot of weapons.
They are the ultimate minority. I'm sorry. They are the ultimate minority. Think back to the Civil War. There were, half the country, less than half the population, but half the country wanted to maintain slavery. The half that didn't won. All right? The proportion is much different now. Those people that are resentful and bitter that they lost the Civil War, there's fewer of them now. There's fewer of them. And not only, and in those days, there weren't all these other kinds of Americans. The people of the North, you didn't have a lot of Muslims. You didn't have a lot of other than white bread people fighting in the North during the Civil War at the time. Now there's all these other kinds of Americans. Now there's Hispanics, and Trump is running around pissing off all of them. You got the mainstream media, all right, giving him all this publicity, ignoring Bernie ignoring Bernie Sanders because he's great for ratings. And the mainstream media, just like when remember Neil would point it out, 5 green teeth Cubans gathered at the intersection, and the news crews zoom in like it's a crowd.
Right.
But when they make the mistake of zooming out, you realize that it's just these 5 old men there. But the media is going to make it look like it's this big to-do.
There is definitely a phenomenon going on, and I'm thrilled to be able to talk about it at all anywhere because it's just I through most of my daily activity, I try to stay apolitical because Because what's the point of saying something to someone that they're going to yell at me?
Rednecky.
Well, not even that. They're actually not. But it's not. You're never going to change anyone's mind.
No.
No one's mind is ever going to be changed.
If I wasn't doing the show, I wouldn't be talking about it.
The Confederate person never says, "Wow, that is an excellent point you just made. I am going to reevaluate everything I've thought my entire life."
I did,
but
for me it was part of a greater reevaluation.
Here's the thing we all need to understand. I watch a lot of this stuff. I work from home. I got the TV on. I'm watching various news all the time. I'm overexposed, in fact. It's bad. It's unhealthy. It's a bad thing. But the Trump thing is real. I really genuinely believe, and have for a long time, he has a very good shot of being the Republican nominee.
That's a scary notion.
Yes. But he is extremely appealing, not just to right-wing lunatics, but even to Democrats, because he does possess many things that people love. One, he says what he thinks. He does not have a filter. He just says it. People really like that.
Okay.
They liked it when Neil was on the air. They like it when you're on the air. They like the idea that even if it's unpopular, he will say it because they feel like he will not lie to them, which is false. He will. But they don't believe that. Two, we're primates. They respect strength. They just respect strength. They want to be led. They want to be led. They love being led. They don't have to think. Not
they
you.
do, not me.
Not
do.
you.
Right.
But you're an evolved creature. It's very different. Evolved creatures are different.
That's the new shtick that I'm doing now is anti-grouping. Think that you're the kind of person, you're a philosophical person. Take this thought and go with it. I'm done with grouping. Don't group me. I'm not a part of a group. Groups have leaders and groups have group dynamics and group attributes. Like the members of this group are blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Listen, I am not a member of a group. You don't know a goddamn thing about me unless you spend some time with me. Don't think that you know jack shit about me because you know the country I was born in. Don't think that you know shit about me. Like, hey, feminist woman, I'm a man. Don't think you know a fucking thing about me based on my gender. Anybody else? Hey, Generican, you think you know something about me because I was born in Cuba? You don't. Fuck you. Don't fucking group me. And if you're grouping yourself, if you say, I belong to this group and me and the members, fuck you. I don't believe in your group. Don't put me in a group. I don't believe in your group. Fuck the groups, man. The groupers. I call them groupers.
Totally. But. Yeah. The majority of people are.
I know, they like leaders and they want to be
gladly march you into the sea.
Yeah, I know. But
so we got to deal with this. This is going to be a real thing. At first, I do support the Trump campaign because I feel it is damaging ultimately to their chances. I really think that Bernie Sanders would be great, but I already told you Hillary Clinton is just a very
how about this? How about with the DNC?
Steady,
this morning I wake up. Did
hand.
you see what the DNC did? Debbie Wasserman Schultz. They're withholding the.
Because one of Bernie's campaign people accessed something they weren't supposed to. They'd be breaking the rules.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yes, they accessed unapproved things. But the bottom line is, we're seeing people feel there's a lot of racists out there.
No shit.
But they don't feel comfortable exposing that.
And by the way, you know very well what the right wing is doing. Look what we've had under Obama. All right, the past 8 years, all of the economic indicators are up. The deficit is down. Right. Unemployment rate down. Consumer confidence up. Approval rating up. So much a better president than G.W. Bush, who they like to pretend. Oh,
so right now,
stop talking about Bush. Stop talking about Bush. Stop blaming Bush. Stop talking about
presidency.
I think what happened.
But they got nothing. Don't you understand? They've got nothing. They instead of admitting, hey, you know what, we were wrong. This guy not so bad after all.
But they would never do that.
They would never do that. But instead, they've got to pretend that everything's wrong. And their leadership, the Republican leadership, has everything is wrong. Everything is wrong. Look what's wrong. You got immigrants coming over. You got illegal leaders. Ebola. The terrorists. Now the Muslims. We got to deal with them. All these trumped up, no pun intended, problems to get these people rallying around the bigotry flag.
Right, but this is the thing that makes it even more disconcerting is the fact that they are resorting to childish shit that always is played out when it comes to us. Oh, they're Muslims, the whole finger pointing thing. And it's, I thought it was kind of cute with the whole Trump thing. It's like, okay, he's just a novelty act. Like when Gary Coleman ran for governor or whatever the case may be. It's cute. But the more he kept going, the more you started seeing the true side of America. Because the whole Obama situation, I was happy that, okay, we are taking a step forward towards change. But in all actuality, when you think about the whole overall scope of politics, they needed to wash up the image of America towards abroad. Okay, at least they have a person of color running the country now, so maybe they're all right. Because I don't know if you felt it during the first term of the first run that Obama had. You kind of got the feeling that, okay, we're not going to get another old, gray-haired, we're going to do it this way person running the country, McCain at the time. So it almost was like a synergy. Everybody was kind of gravitating to Obama. He's cool. He's hip. Trump, I felt like the second term that Obama was running for, they were looking for that equivalent, whether it was Mitt Romney or whatever, somebody that can fit the aesthetic of what can be accepted by the masses. Trump just kind of kicked the door down and said, fuck it. We're just going to he's honest as you described it, and he speaks his mind, but he has an agenda. He's a billionaire.
He's not an honest person. He speaks the way that people perceive. Putin. You'll never know what Trump really feels about anything. You'll never know,
not at all.
Because he's a con man. All right, so you don't know what he really feels. He'll say, and he's a TV celebrity.
Exactly.
He knows how to be provocative. He will say, like any talk show host, he knows what to say that gets more press,
extremely
and
talented.
More media. And I'm very not that it surprises me, because remember, the revolution will not be televised. All right, so therefore the TV stations are not showing Bernie. They're not showing how 2 million contributors.
Are you one of them?
Huh? No.
Don't understand how it works
but
yet.
I'm gonna vote for him.
Send him $5, man.
All right, I'll send him $5. I'll be 2 million and one. I'll do that.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, if you really believe it, there's a saying. There's all these great cliches.
I was
One
regular.
put your money where your mouth is.
I contribute to Move On.
Well,
whatever. All right, I'm going to contribute to Bernie, so I'll be contributor 2 million.
I choose to not donate to Move On because Move On is an organization. I choose to donate to a person.
Okay,
that's what the way I make those decisions. And Bernie, what you're getting from this guy. His whole life, his whole career,
he's winning in all of the presidential polls that they take everywhere,
except the popular poll.
No, all the straw polls that they take has Bernie winning. When you just put Bernie up against everybody, you put everybody that's running up
the Republicans. He beats all the Republicans.
He beats Hillary too. Everything that I'm reading, he beats everybody. There's no poll where Hillary's ahead. That isn't some mainstream media generated.
Did you see do you watch any of these debates? Did you see the Republican debate?
I didn't see the most recent one. I watched one of them in total.
Myself. I watch all these.
It is torture. It makes me really angry.
I really believe this. You say don't group, and I agree. I'm registered independent because I don't want to be a group.
Right.
Even though independent is technically a group, but
right.
I really want America to be happy. I really want to get to a point where we are not divided and back where we feel like a general level of respect for our president and where we do all have some political differences. Republicans think the top tier tax bracket should be 35 and Democrats think it should be 40 and there's 5% difference and we debate about it. But this is very different. Chris Christie and multiple people said World War III has started. Alarmist, horrific, nightmarish things. They say that you are unsafe wherever you go because of this president. He is the reason. He was unable to determine that two schmoes in a house were doing something in San Bernardino and keep you safe. Something happened in Paris, France, 10,000 or so some odd miles away. He is responsible for this thing that happened. We are a nation of cowards now. We are fearful and frightful, and many of us are huddled under the bed in the fetal position, craving safety. Well, exactly. But how do we put out our words? How do we put out our idea that, no, we're not afraid. No one's afraid. Yes, some people are going to die every day from something, falling down the stairs, slipping on ice, getting in a car accident, shooting themselves by mistake while cleaning their firearm. We can't be in fear of all of these things. You're choosing to be afraid because two people who call themselves, quote, radical Muslim extremists did something, killed people. How's that any different than anybody else?
These people choose to be afraid. The same reason, because of bigotry. Yeah. I have to explain bigotry to people because in my younger years, I was a right-wing, born-again Christian conservative bigot.
Bigotry because they have to blame the black president for everything that's happening to undermine him.
The mechanism of bigotry. When you have a negative sentiment, a pre-existing negative sentiment towards a group, let's say, and you hear something negative about that group, you are more inclined to believe it than if you're not a bigot. You hear a negative news story, and before you run it through, because I don't know what checks and balances or system other people use when they choose to believe something. But I need a little bit more than just, I heard that. All right? But some people, they hear that and they immediately believe it because they want to believe it. All right? So it begins with the bigotry. You wouldn't have believed that colonel of misinformation if you didn't want to. Same thing goes when you're fear-mongering. The Muslims are out to get you. Well, I already don't like Muslims because I'm a Christian and I believe that Christians are good and everybody that isn't is bad. So I just heard a negative story about a Muslim, so I'm going to automatically believe it. I'm not going to run it through a filter. I'm not going to fact check it. I'm just going to automatically believe it. And of course, that stokes your negative sentiment. So now you even feel more negatively about that person. It's the exact same phenomenon. We're dealing with bigots. Donald Trump stepped out there and said, if you're a bigot, follow me. He didn't use that exact same language, but that's exactly what's going on. Everybody that thinks that Donald Trump isn't a piece of shit is a fucking bigot. He's a fucking bigot.
Well, I heard, I read this article, this interview actually, that of all people, Ice-T, who has a credible background because he was in the Army, and his observation, because he doesn't get into the minutia when it comes to politics. He's looking at it more from a broad view, like how are we being viewed from abroad, and we're being set up to where there'll be more splinter cells of ISIS. Right now it's ISIS and it'll be another group and another group. It's just going to get to the point because this is an open country. Anybody could come in here.
You can't stop people from thinking things.
Right. Yeah. And then this guy
privately acting on things.
And this guy
that they don't inform the public about.
Right.
You can never stop that. That needs to be
Is there any doubt in your head?
But this guy is playing the finger pointing game. Anybody who's a tactician or strategist, if you're going to go to war, why are you pointing the finger at somebody? Why are you letting them know that you're coming?
Is there any doubt in your mind that ISIS was created by and is perpetuated by the military-industrial complex, the international banks, our own warmongering machine? We have to have an enemy. When I was growing up, it was the communists. That was the IST, IST du jour.
Socialist,
we had the communists,
Marxist.
and now we have the terrorists. We have to have an IST, a boogeyman, to frighten the people, to keep us all fighting and at war, and all these wars going on.
Definitely something to that. I am not a big subscriber to extreme conspiracy theories like that. I think it has been proven where ISIS came from. ISIS is the remnant of the Iraqi military that were put into these camps and allowed to basically plan what they were going to do when they got out.
Allowed to fester.
It was
Cook
a
on
huge
medium.
blunder by the Bush administration. We know exactly where it came from. They were not created by President Obama. These guys were working on this plan. That is just a deal. And now it's a very difficult situation because if you're a young Iraqi a Muslim, Sunni Muslim who has zero going for you, zero, you're kicking sand, you're Luke Skywalker on Tatooine, and all of a sudden you have the option to go, what, I get to ride in a truck?
Yeah.
I get to ride in a truck with a gun?
But Uncle
I get
Owen,
to go
I want to join the
around
rebels.
the world? Yeah, let's go join up. Let's go. We get paid? We get paid? Yes, we get paid.
You provide them with purpose.
Enticing to these people. And so for now, they're going to do this.
Same thing with South American revolutionaries. You got nothing going on. You got no chance. This is your only option. Here's a gun.
Most Americans, and myself included, do not have enough knowledge of this whole working mechanism to even have an opinion. We don't really be understanding it. And most people, including all these guys on the right of the political, Jeb might have his view of it, which is wrong.
Right.
But he's smart enough to know what the real deal is, especially after. But he thinks it can be defeated. When they say the terrorists will sign their death warrant and that will convince them to stop. No, it won't. They are signing their death warrant on purpose. That's not a negative outcome to them.
Right.
It's not a negative. It's a positive.
It's not an end game for them.
It's not an end game for
them. That's a cultural thing. By the way, that shows courage of your conviction in that.
That's
culture.
not a coward.
Bill Maher said that and he got fired.
Yeah. Fire me.
We have a huge.
That's how they see it.
Problem.
Is the point?
I've
you
got a
have
great
to understand
friend
their culture.
Who says we need to turn that place into a parking lot? And I keep saying to him, I was like, don't you realize that a parking lot would be a vast improvement to what is already there?
Right.
It would represent a huge investment.
Right.
A parking lot costs money.
What place are you talking about? What, 1.5 billion Muslims? Like all of the places where the Muslims live?
Yes, exactly.
That's
genocide.
here too.
If you ask people, should we genocide Muslims?
That's
what
been
are they
tried.
Say?
That's been tried.
Exactly. So we have a real problem, and the president of the United States, in my opinion, is playing it pretty right.
Yeah.
Because on the one scoreboard, you mentioned data. God forbid we use data, jobs, economy, all of these things, data to judge this man's presidency, other than him or how we feel about him. Listen, the dead American scoreboard.
What he has accomplished,
he's winning big time.
What he has accomplished with the Congress and the Senate as it was during his presidency.
Yes.
The do nothing. We're going to block everything this man wants to do. I've never seen a presidency so hobbled by the other branches of government as this man's presidency, and still so much is better now than it was under Bush.
If you're a gay person, your life has changed dramatically in 8 years. And we can go down group by group, people by people, the way it is, people in positions that have never held them. Here's the story of Obama real quickly. He was on a trajectory to be a transcendent American president, Mount Rushmore style. Everybody knew it. He had a movement behind him, and the right wing of this country, the power brokers, decided that they couldn't let that happen. They couldn't let this guy go down in history as one of the true greats. And they had to form an opposition. And also realize that a lot of money could be made with this opposition for individuals, like these Tea Party people who formed local Tea Party groups to get out of paying taxes.
Bloggers, talk show hosts, pundits.
Absolutely.
Did you see the fake CIA op? 18 years this guy's been on Fox News. The fake CIA guy that they had on there.
There is money in defying the president. Whoever it is. We could get up and on it the next time. If Trump becomes president, there's a lot of money to be made if
Bush
we choose to undermine him. But that would be anti-American of us. And hopefully our patriotism would never allow us to really try to undermine the American president, because we would feel that we are undermining ourselves by doing that. These people never felt that way.
Oh, because when Bush was in, it's a wartime president. You can't say shit. It's wartime.
Exactly.
That's totally
true
different.
Patriot. And this is, again, I was raised in a military family. This is like my ultimate core, is that I was raised by a Marine Corps drill instructor who received the Jedi training and, frankly, American brainwashing. Let's face it. Call it what it is.
Call it what it is.
Okay? And the idea of attacking the office of the presidency in a way that is truly to the nature disrespectful, you really shouldn't do that. You can disagree with policies, but you don't want to undermine the leadership of our country and weaken it. Because when you weaken it within, exterior enemies see the weakening and make a move.
Take advantage.
Like Vladimir Putin, like all of these other people that the right wing of our country say, oh, look, the president is weak. It's like, no, you're weakening him.
On that channel I told you about, DW News, I watched the European conference, and they had Vladimir Putin on the big screen and everything. This live conference with all the European nations to talk about what to do and who's to bomb and everything. It's a great news network. You need to watch it.
I will check it out. Our unity is our strength. In one of our core documents, divided we fall.
Right.
Divided we fall. Right now we are divided, and there are people who are choosing to divide us because they can't stand the personality of one man.
That's right.
That's it.
It's horrible. Bigotry is see, here's the thing, because Americans like to point blame. This is the enemy and this is what you're afraid at. I want a prosperous America, and I believe that the right wingers also want a prosperous America. But we see the enemy is very different. The enemy that I see is bigotry, first of all, as far as the internal, the social thing. But the exterior enemy is the international banks, the multi-billionaires, multinational corporations, the military-industrial complex.
You mean the wizard?
If you're worried about what a mother on welfare is taking out of your pocket, why aren't you worried about the truck that is looting your household contents? If you're worried about the pennies that are being taken from you by a welfare mother, all right, why aren't you worried about the moving truck that is taking your big screen TV out of your house? Because that's
because they
corporate
earned
welfare.
It, George, because those people
corporate
worked
welfare,
hard
international bank,
they earned it.
No, these people are not fiscally conservative. If you tell me that you're fiscally conservative and you're pro-war, I know you're a liar. If you tell me that you're pro-life,
well,
but
Rand
you're
Paul has been
pro-war,
making a lot of sense.
You're a liar.
In these debates,
well, he's
Rand Paul,
a libertarian.
But he's getting screwed over just like Bernie Sanders is.
Right.
Rand Paul will participate in the debate.
Because he's not a Republican, he's a libertarian.
And do an excellent job and take shots at everyone, and they won't talk about it.
Because he's a libertarian and has more in common with Bernie than these other guys do.
Absolutely he does.
Yeah.
It's a great shame.
By the way,
people don't understand.
The anarchists on the left and the anarchists on the right are going to bump into each other backwards in the dark, like in Monty Python. Solidarity, brother. Although we're the People's Front of Judea, we're the Judean People's Front. They both really want small government. So it's going to be a funny thing to watch.
Look at it this way. The Republicans, and this will be my final point, hypocrisy. If nothing else, you should be able to notice hypocrisy. Republicans control the Senate. Republicans control the House by overwhelming numbers. They just added $600 billion to the deficit.
Yeah.
How could that possibly happen?
How
could it possibly happen? No, they did it, and I actually am okay with it. I believe in credit and debt and managing your debt, and I think we are managing our debt, and it's just part of the deal. But they had religion against Obama for the first 7 years, but now that he's about out the door, all right, we're willing to spend $600 billion. No sweat, spend it. And they spend it. Paul Ryan, Mr. Ayn Rand. Spend it. Sign up. Why? Because Obama's about to be out the door, and we might be the next ones in the door.
Yeah.
So let's spend some money.
It's very, very funny.
Happy holidays, Steve.
Ayn Rand collected Social Security. Just remember that. And by the way, just a special mention before we leave. And talk about a unifier. One of the great unifiers of this nation, Martin Shkreli.
Yes.
Because everybody, including Trump, blasted this guy back when. Going to jail for fraud. He's a scumbag, and everybody agrees with it.
Yes, 100%.
Nobody argues. Everybody, gay, straight, born-again Christian, Muslims, Martin Shkreli, he's a douchebag, and everybody agrees with that.
He bought the Wu-Tang album for like $2 million and won't listen to it for spite.
No. He's actually going to play it because the stipulations of the contract is that you cannot play it for 88 years. It is until 88 years that you will play the album. And he said he's going to leak it.
Yeah, because I'm going to jail anyway, so what are you going to do? Get me for fraud? Yeah, that guy should be probably drawn and quartered.
Sure.
It's probably the best punishment for a slime like that. How is a slime like that able to thrive? They'll draw
him a nice bath in prison there, in jail.
They'll never touch him.
Well, he's the world's most eligible bachelor.
Yeah,
in prison.
Exactly.
Thank you, Joe. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for the wonderful
Love
present.
Radio, all you people out there. Thank you.
That's right.
Miguel.
Come back and do more cameos. Miguel Escobar, shout out to Miguel Escobar out there, not to be confused with the ones that have money. This one,
and the best is to come in and be able to make acquaintance with wonderful people like Lisa Corrao, who I've only heard of, and now we're friends.
She's warm, she's fuzzy, she's delicious and nutritious. She tastes great and is less filling.
And funny.
Yeah, she is funny. She's genuinely a funny person. Thank you, everybody. Don't forget to tune in to This Is the Spot, starring one Jack Frost. There's one right there. One Jack Frost starting at 8 o'clock. Did I get it right this time?
It's a rerun today.
Oh, it's a rerun today. Nevertheless, listen to it again.
Rerun.
It's going to be great. Thank you very much, everybody.
Got a wedding.
Thank you to the music of Roykstop today. Peace. We're out of here.
Broadcasting from the heart of downtown Hollywood. This is SoFloRadio.com.